Chapter 1750. The lifelong Realm Lord was the ruler of an entire world. He naturally had his outstanding points. The lifelong Realm Heart could be used together with the corrosive Heaven Heart Mandate, allowing the corrosive energy to flow endlessly until the opponent was completely corroded. Back then, he used the Longevity Heaven Heart Mandate to create a World Heart precisely because he wanted to see how powerful the Longevity Heaven Heart Mandate was. The boundless corrosive energy continued to corrode Qin Wentian's body, causing Qin Wentian's body to be corroded bit by bit. A malevolent smile appeared on the lifelong Realm Lord's face. Genius? Stepping into the World Overlord realm from the mid-stage of the Immortal Emperor realm within 100 years? So what of it? No matter how high one's talent is, no matter how powerful a genius is, they would still be unable to defeat the word, death. As long as they died, everything would be transformed into nothingness, no longer existing. He stared at Qin Wentian's body disappearing bit by bit as his expression turned cold to the extreme. Qin Wentian wasn't even a world overlord yet. He dared to fight against him? Courting death. In the air, the overwhelming energy dissipated. The countless vines retracted, vanishing in an instant. World overlords had a world heart and had comprehended heaven heart mandates. Their control over energy was extremely powerful. It was just a matter of a single thought. The battle has ended? Countless people inclined their heads and stared at the vanishing silhouette of Qin Wentian. The lifelong Realm Lord was still standing there. At this moment, the subordinates of the lifelong Realm Lord were all in a state of wild joy. As for the experts on Qin Wentian's side, their countenances all turned pale. If the lifelong Realm Lord killed Qin Wentian on the spot, there would only be a single ending for them: destruction. Master is mighty, the Skyer Palace Lord roared. He was suppressed by Huang Zhan and felt extremely depressed. Right now, his gaze when he looked at Huang Zhan was like he was looking at a dead man. Since his master had killed Qin Wentian, everything has ended. A complacent smile appeared on the lifelong Realm Lord's face. But at this moment he seemed to have suddenly sensed something. His brows furrowed as boundless energy gushed forth once more. In just an instant, countless vines bloomed, blotting out the sun as boundless energy formed a barrier before him. This sudden change caused many people to be puzzled. In the next instant they saw an extremely intense beam of light. Qin Wentian's body transformed into a beam of light as he punched out with a fist of light, containing incomparable might. The power of the blazing light Heaven Heart Mandate instantly shot towards the lifelong Realm Lord. Upon seeing Qin Wentian's figure appearing once more, the arrogant smile on the Skyer Palace Lord's face instantly froze. Huang Zhan roared, "Prepare to die." The battle below instantly erupted with even more ferocity and intensity. And in the air, when Qin Wentian's fist of light slammed into the light barrier made of vines, the terrifying power of the blazing light Heaven Heart Mandate, along with the innate technique, directly penetrated through the light barrier and shot towards the lifelong Realm Lord's body. The beams of light were tyrannical to the extreme, directly penetrating through the lifelong Realm Lord's body. With a boom, the lifelong Realm Lord's body exploded into pieces, transforming into nothingness. However, Qin Wentian only saw a figure flashing by. At the instant the lifelong Realm Lord's body was destroyed, another figure actually appeared beside him. This figure was also the lifelong Realm Lord's silhouette. He has a world divine weapon on him that contains an extremely unique energy. It allows him to instantly split into another body when he's in danger, using that body to replace his death. It's very hard for your attacks to kill him. Below he reminded. Before this, he didn't interfere because he wanted to see Qin Wentian's capabilities. When Qin Wentian fought against the lifelong Realm Lord, he originally didn't take him into consideration. He naturally had his own confidence, and at such a time, he naturally wouldn't interfere. He wanted Qin Wentian to sense it himself. It was just that right now, Qin Wentian had already come into contact with the lifelong Realm Lord's core ability. This was the reason why he reminded Qin Wentian. That world divine weapon was something he obtained from the lifelong Realm Lord back then when he was training with him. The lifelong Realm Lord kept it for himself, and it was an extremely powerful life-saving treasure that had miraculous effects in battle. The lifelong Realm Lord's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. He was actually almost killed by Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian just entered this realm and comprehended the power of Heaven Heart Mandates. His heaven heart mandate was actually so tyrannical that it could directly threaten him, a true world overlord. Also, earlier, how did Qin Wentian vanish before his eyes and reappear out of thin air? Being able to hide from his world heart, what sort of ability was this? There was only one possibility. Qin Wentian also didn't just comprehend a single type of heaven heart mandate. This young man before him used such a short period of time. Other than the light blaze heaven heart mandate, he actually comprehended other types of heaven heart mandates as well. This definitely wasn't something that could be summarized with the word fortuitous encounter. If one didn't have extremely high comprehension abilities, it was basically impossible to accomplish this. What heaven heart mandate is that? The lifelong realm lord stared at Qin Wentian as he asked. Qin Wentian coldly glanced at the lifelong realm lord. It was true that he didn't just comprehend a single type of heaven heart mandate. Earlier, the heaven heart mandate he used was called the illusory void. What the lifelong realm lord saw were all illusions while he used the power of his heaven heart mandate to conceal himself. The powerful illusory heaven heart mandate caused the lifelong realm lord to be unable to discover his true body. This time around, Qin Wentian felt even more confidence in his heaven heart mandate. As expected, his heaven heart mandate was much stronger compared to ordinary world overlords. If not, he would definitely be discovered. In addition, his attacks were also able to break through the defenses of his opponents. I initially thought that I would underestimate you. Hence I was extremely careful. Who would have thought that a world overlord like you is actually so weak? Seems like I have overestimated you. Qin Wentian didn't reply to the lifelong realm lord's words. He coldly continued, just an attack of this level and you actually need to borrow the power of a divine weapon to protect your life? It's about time for you to scram from the position of the overlord of a world. Let me return your words to you. After you die, there's no need to worry. I will take care of the lifelong realm. As for your family and friends, I will naturally arrange them for you. The lifelong realm lord's expression grew more and more unsightly. He no longer had the calmness he had when he sat on the throne earlier. Qin Wentian's words were a domineering counterattack to his earlier words about taking care of Qin Wentian's beautiful wife. He was the overlord of a world, he was confident and powerful. Because he dared to say this, he didn't even think about what terrifying ending would happen if he was defeated. Right now, when he thought about it, he felt his entire body turning cold. In truth, after this short exchange of blows, he himself was no longer as confident as before. The lifelong realm lord took out an ancient mirror. This mirror radiated a mystical energy. It was a world divine weapon. The lifelong realm lord waved his hand as the world divine weapon flew into the air. He then formed hand seals as the ancient mirror shone upon the vast space. When the lifelong realm lord unleashed another attack, the ancient mirror projected a projection of him, transforming into an attack of the same level, shooting towards Qin Wentian. This wasn't merely a defensive-type world divine weapon. It was also an attack-type world divine weapon. Qin Wentian waved his hand and directly blasted out a beam of light. This beam of light was actually a treasure hoop that radiated a mystical glow that instantly enveloped the ancient mirror. A cold smile appeared on his face. He was just thinking about how to deal with the lifelong realm lord's world divine weapon. Should he borrow the power of the lifelong realm lord's world divine weapon? But right now there was no longer a need to think about it. The lifelong realm lord was gifting his world divine weapon to him. Chapter 1751. The lifelong realm lord roared. His lifelong world heart frenziedly healed his damaged body. However, how would Qin Wentian give him a chance? He directly punched out, slamming into the lifelong realm lord's body. This punch was infused with the power of heaven heart mandates. In an instant, boundless light illuminated the area, blinding everyone's eyes. Countless people inclined their heads and stared at the sky. The lifelong realm lord and Qin Wentian were in the center of the light. The difference was that Qin Wentian was bathed in holy light, while the lifelong realm lord's body was constantly radiating light in all directions. The lifelong realm lord's body gradually turned illusory, about to disintegrate into nothingness. How did you do this? The lifelong realm lord's expression contorted as boundless terror appeared on his face. He stared at Qin Wentian. He didn't understand. Before this, he definitely didn't make a mistake. He had grasped the laws of Qin Wentian's Heaven Heart mandate and unleashed a sure-kill attack. But this time around, why was Qin Wentian no longer in the void? That seemingly corroding body of his had become his true body instead? You have the lifelong world heart, but I have an undying body. My world heart can be broken, but how can an undying body be destroyed? In the future, the lifelong realm shall be under my control. Everyone in the world will submit to me. Go. Boundless heaven heart mandates of the lifelong realm lord were still frenziedly erupting forth, illuminating this entire space. I'm unwilling to accept this. The lifelong realm lord roared. He had unparalleled authority and countless beauties in his harem. Even if he was to stop at this level in the future, as long as he was more cautious and didn't offend characters that were too powerful, he would still be the king of the lifelong realm, able to enjoy boundless glory. The entire world would belong to him, all the beauties in the world would belong to him. However, was everything going to become a fleeting cloud? He actually died in the hands of one of his subordinates. 100 years ago, this young man who was still a mid-stage immortal emperor and was appointed by him as the Lifire Palace Lord, had taken his life and even occupied his harem. When he thought of how he threatened Qin Wentian before this, an incomparable fear appeared in his heart. After he died, how would Qin Wentian treat his harem and his descendants? When he thought of those beauties being controlled by Qin Wentian, his heart ached even more. He also thought of Biyue being together with the traitor desolate Heaven Palace Lord, Huang Zhan. He was filled with boundless regret and unwillingness as he gradually dissipated. No matter how much unwillingness he had, he wouldn't be able to escape death. No matter how powerful you are, everything would become nothing before death. The intense light was extremely blinding. The battle in the air finally calmed down. This was especially so for the two palace lords from the Saddle Dragon Palace and Jangmetal Palace. Their eyes were filled with disdain when they stared at Qin Wentian. But after that, they bowed at the same time. Your subordinates have sinned. We pay our respects to the new Realm Lord. From now onwards, no one will dare to defy Realm Lord Qin's orders. The people from the Xianyuan Palace, Gemini Palace and Jialan clan were all speechless when they heard these shameless words. In order to preserve their lives, they would truly do anything. The crowd in the vast space also stared at them in shock. This was truly shameless enough. The speed at which they submitted wasn't just an ordinary level of speed. The palace lords could naturally sense the disdainful gazes of everyone. But so what of it? The lifelong realm lord was killed by Qin Wentian in public. The situation instantly became clear. Qin Wentian's replacement was the inevitable. Could it be that they were courting death by continuing to resist? Compared to their lives, what was face? What did the pride of a palace lord count for? Nothing was more important than their lives. For this point, although everyone was filled with disdain, they understood this in their hearts. They inclined their heads and stared at the magnificent figure in the air. The Xianyuan Palace, Jialan clan and the other major powers all bowed. We pay our respects to the Realm Lord. We pay our respects to the Realm Lord. Countless people spoke. Even for those who were fighting against Qin Wentian's forces earlier, they all called out in a loud voice. If they didn't surrender now, it would mean that they didn't want their lives anymore. The spectators below stared up at the sky as their gazes involuntarily flashed with respect. Their gazes when they looked at Qin Wentian began to change. They truly began to realize that a legendary character had been born at this moment. The Skyer Palace Lord's countenance was as pale as paper. He didn't kneel because he understood that Qin Wentian could spare everyone except for him. At the instant Qin Wentian killed the lifelong Realm Lord, his fate was already determined. He would die for sure. It was just that even now, he still found it hard to accept this. Today, they were prepared to ruthlessly humiliate Qin Wentian and Princess Kitamura. His master would deal with Qin Wentian today. But why did the situation suddenly change? Everything that happened completely exceeded his imagination. Even now, when he stared at the white-robed young man, he still couldn't accept the fact that the white-robed young man would replace his master and control his fate. Concubine Lu's countenance was also extremely pale. Once the lifelong Realm Lord died, she understood that everything was finished. Everything was finished. The people on Qin Wentian's side all had completely different emotions. The Xianyuan Palace Lord silently sighed in relief. He had hesitated for a very long time when he chose a side. Luckily, he made the right bet. As for the Jialan clan, they understood that next, the light that belonged to them was finally about to arrive. They were the most loyal supporters of Qin Wentian. Although they supported Qin Wentian before this, they still thought that Qin Wentian had a backup plan and didn't kill the lifelong Realm Lord alone. When they thought about it now, they all felt disbelief in their hearts. It was like they were in a dream. Jialan Jiangshan felt a chill in his heart. This time around the stakes were too great. He felt that he was too audacious. His opponent was the lifelong Realm Lord. He might as well win. Jialan Chuyue stared at the magnificent figure in the air as her beautiful eyes went into a daze. The radiance of some people couldn't be blocked by anyone. When their radiance was released, everyone in the world would submit to them. Qin Wentian was undoubtedly such an existence. The younger generations will surpass us in time. He sighed in his heart. A junior from Azure Mystic who was so much later than him actually managed to kill the lifelong Realm Lord. The two palace lords of the Gemini Palace clenched their fists tightly as excitement flashed in their eyes. The Saint Lord of this generation was even more domineering and terrifying compared to their Saint Lord. Would the Battle Saint tribe be able to rise to glory in his hands? They could finally see hope. Yi Qinyu was still radiating charm. Her beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian as boundless pride filled her heart. This was her man. After learning of her predicament, he only said a few words to her. Wait for me. All the humiliation she suffered before this was completely washed clean at this moment. From now onwards, who in the world would dare to criticize her? Those people who once spoke disrespectfully to her, most probably all sank into boundless terror right now. Princess Kitamura lowered her head. Gentleness could be seen in her eyes. This battle was for Yi Qinyu, but wasn't it for her as well? The white-robed young man exuded boundless magnificence. His body slowly floated down from the air. Numerous silhouettes flashed as Jun Mingchen and the other Empyreans appeared behind him. For a period of time, the entire place was filled with boundless radiance. Such a lineup directly surpassed the lifelong Realm Lord of the past. The lifelong realm welcomed an even more powerful Realm Lord. An even more powerful lineup. How do you want to die? Qin Wentian turned his gaze to the Skyer Palace Lord. This person was as despicable as the lifelong Realm Lord. His words earlier were extremely malicious, taking advantage of Yi Qinyu and insulting the relationship between him and Princess Kitamura. Now that the lifelong Realm Lord died, the first person he wanted to kill was naturally him. Qin Wentian, so what even if you win? You won't be able to wash away the stain on your body. You're woman. A venomous look appeared on the face of the Skyer Palace Lord. Even before his death, he still wanted to say some malicious words to disgust Qin Wentian. But at this moment, a beam of light cascaded down as the power of a heaven heart mandate directly pierced into his throat. He instantly couldn't make any sound. Even before your death, you still refused to repent. I initially wanted to give you a quick death, but since you like to humiliate others so much, just live on then. Qin Wentian's body flashed with light, unceasingly ravaging the Skyer Palace Lord's body. The Skyer Palace Lord screamed in agony as everything in his body was being destroyed. Qin Wentian waved his hand, directly sweeping him away like he was dealing with an ant. To the Skyer Palace Lord, who was used to being high up in the air, living was sometimes more painful than death. As long as he didn't die, he would have to endure all sorts of humiliation. Chapter 1752. The Skyer Palace Lord was crippled and was directly swept away by Qin Wentian. Everyone could already guess what his fate would be like. An incomparably arrogant world palace lord, after being crippled, what sort of humiliation would he have to endure? He was once high up in the air, looking down on those he had offended before. How would they take revenge on him? Just like what Qin Wentian said, sometimes living was even more painful than death. It all depended on whether the Skyer Palace Lord was willing to commit suicide or not. Qin Wentian turned his gaze to the Dragon Saddle Palace Lord, his eyes gleaming with coldness. Begging for mercy and surrendering? This Dragon Saddle Palace Lord was most probably the most shameless person other than the Skyer Palace Lord. Before this, he was the one who supported the lifelong Realm Lord the most, insulting Yi Qinyu and even requested to be killed. Now he was also the fastest to surrender. From this, one could see his character. It's true that we all serve our respective masters. But for those who humiliated my women, do they still think they can live? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. In an instant, the Dragon Saddle Palace Lord's expression turned ashen. I'll give the two of you a quick death. Qin Wentian spoke. The power of his Heaven Heart mandate gushed forth, enveloping the Dragon Saddle Palace Lord and Scarlet Origin Palace Lord. These two had once supported the lifelong Realm Lord, but now they were begging for mercy? If he was defeated, the two of them wouldn't show him any mercy. The power of his Heaven Heart mandate gushed forth, directly killing the two palace lords. This caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. In a short period of time, 3 palace lords were already punished. Jangmetal Palace Lord, I permit you to bring your family and leave the Jangmetal Palace. Remember, settle everything cleanly. Qin Wentian calmly spoke, sparing the Jangmetal Palace Lord's life. With the deaths of 2 palace lords earlier, the Jangmetal Palace Lord could already be considered extremely fortunate. Luckily, he was low profile and didn't speak much before this. Hence, he didn't suffer any unexpected calamity. He bowed, many thanks, Realm Lord Qin. After speaking, he turned and departed. From now on, the 4 World Palace Lords who followed the lifelong Realm Lord were all dealt with. In addition to the fact that Qin Wentian was originally the Lifire Palace Lord and the Kungvutter Palace Lord had already died, there were now 6 World Palace Lords in the 9 World Palaces. The gazes of many people when they looked at the Jiaolong clan changed. Before this, they all thought that the Jiaolong clan was foolish. But only now did they understand how wise the Jiaolong clan's choice was. Their dream of becoming the World Palace Lord of one of the 9 World Palaces was already within reach. Desolate Heaven Palace Lord and Xinyuan Palace Lord, listen up. You guys should have recorded down those who insulted Yi Qinyu earlier. Right? Deal with them all. Qin Wentian coldly spoke, directly issuing an order. Today he killed the lifelong Realm Lord and naturally replaced him. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, a man must not be powerless. If not, his family and friends would all be bullied by others. Earlier, the lifelong Realm Lord bullying Yi Qinyu was an example. Hence, today he naturally had to clean things up properly, allowing the lifelong Realm Lord to become his backup force. Only then would he be able to set his heart at ease and pursue higher cultivation realms. Only by using iron-blooded methods would he be able to shock the hearts of others. Even those who insulted his women were treated with mercy, who would still place him, the new Realm Lord, in their eyes? Roger. The Desolate Heaven Palace Lord and Xinyuan Palace Lord acknowledged. They waved their hands and led their men to act against some of the major powers and experts, suppressing them with iron-blooded methods. The expressions of some people drastically changed, wanting to flee. Even ants wanted to live, they naturally wanted to live as well. But how could they escape? There was no problem for them to be loyal to the lifelong Realm Lord. For example, the Jangmetal Palace Lord, Qin Wentian, would let him go. As for those powers that didn't directly obey the lifelong Realm Lord, Qin Wentian naturally wouldn't bother with them. However, insulting Yi Qinyu was the greatest mistake of these people. They shouldn't have used such a method to curry favor with the lifelong Realm Lord. The hearts of countless people trembled. A massacre occurred right before the eyes of everyone. Many people were killed on the spot. After the cleanup, the Desolate Heaven Palace Lord came to the side of Qin Wentian and bowed. This subordinate has a request. I hope Realm Lord Qin can agree to it. Speak. Qin Wentian nodded. Concubine Lu insulted the woman I love. I want her to die. Huang Zhan spoke. You can go. I will leave Fairy Buette to you. Qin Wentian spoke. Since Huang Zhan was willing to follow him, wasn't it because of this matter? He wouldn't interfere. He would let Huang Zhan handle everything himself. Concubine Lu prepared to die. Huang Zhan directly stepped out, moving towards Concubine Lu, who had already turned pale. Before this, how imposing was she? She was the beloved concubine of the lifelong Realm Lord, and had great authority in the harem. But now the lifelong Realm Lord has fallen. The one who suffered the most was none other than his women. Although Concubine Lu was also an Empyrean, how could she be a match for Huang Zhan, the number 1 palace lord of the 9 world palaces? She was killed on the spot. After killing him, Huang Zhan walked towards Fairy Buette. Staring at Huang Zhan, tears flowed down Fairy Buette's face. Her heart was incomparably complicated. The man before her was the man she loved, but everything had changed. Right now she only felt pain. Biyue, can you follow me in the future? Huang Zhan spoke. He was an Empyrean. What kind of woman wouldn't he be able to obtain? But even though Biyue was already the lifelong Realm Lord's woman and had even given birth to a son, Huang Zhan still didn't despise her. From this, one could see that his feelings for her were indeed true. If not, why would he follow Qin Wentian and participate in this rebellion? Huang Zhan could accept this, but Fairy Biyue couldn't. She shook her head unceasingly. She couldn't face all of this. She could only turn and fly towards the lifelong Saint Hall. Huang Zhan stared at her back as his heart was filled with complicated emotions. Realm Lord Qin, now that the lifelong Realm Lord has died, the lifelong realm will naturally be under your control from now on. This subordinate requests for Realm Lord Qin to take over and change the name of the lifelong realm. At this moment, the Xinyuan Palace Lord bowed to Qin Wentian. The lifelong Realm Lord has governed the lifelong realm for many years, but now that the dynasty has changed, the lifelong realm naturally had to have a new name. Right now, this world belonged to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The lifelong realm really had to change its name. He fell silent for a moment before he asked, Xinyuan Palace Lord, do you have any suggestions? I wonder if the Realm Lord has a title? The Xinyuan Palace Lord asked. Title? Qin Wentian did have a title in Azure Mystic, the Heaven Empyrean. However, it wasn't suitable here. The lifelong Realm Lord used his cultivation base and methods to give himself a title. What about him? The Light Flame Realm Lord? That didn't seem too good. In addition, he hasn't comprehended his own world heart yet. Right now, his title was just a title. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, staring at Little Rascal, Jun Mingchen and the others. After that, his gaze landed on Qing. Qing, who has stepped into the Empyrean realm, also requested to fight with him today. Her magnificence was unparalleled, but she stood silently at the side. Today, he killed the lifelong Realm Lord for Yi Qinyu and Princess Kitamura. However, what did he give to Qing'er and Qingcheng? Also, not long ago, he kept saying that Yi Qinyu was his woman. Qing'er was at the side and heard it. Upon thinking of this, Qin Wentian instantly made a decision in his heart. Since he killed the lifelong Realm Lord for Yi Qinyu and Princess Kitamura, in that case, the lifelong realm's name shall be given to Qing'er and Qingcheng. His gaze turned to the crowd as he spoke. From now onwards, the lifelong realm shall be renamed as the Qingcheng realm. My title shall be the Qingcheng Realm Lord. The two words Qingcheng were derived from Qing'er and Qingcheng. One person, one word, and the two words were also a homonym for Qingcheng. Also, he himself was given the title of Qingcheng Realm Lord to prove his heart. He, Qing'er and Qingcheng were inseparable. Qingcheng Realm Lord. Everyone mumbled. To the vast majority of people, they didn't know the meaning behind the two words Qingcheng. This name wasn't tyrannical, but those who knew could understand Qin Wentian's intentions. This was especially so for those from Azure Mystic. Everyone knew that Qin Wentian gave up the tyrannical title of the Heaven Empyrean and chose the Qingcheng Realm Lord as his title in the supreme ancient immortal realms. From now onwards, this name might follow Qin Wentian for a very long time. In fact, his name might even resound through the boundless regions. If that day came, this title would surely become a beautiful story. Qing'er's beautiful eyes flashed when she heard this title. Her eyelashes fluttered as a hint of warmth flashed in her heart. We pay our respects to the Qingcheng Realm Lord. The Xinyuan Palace Lord reacted very quickly. He immediately bowed and called out, We pay our respects to the Qingcheng Realm Lord. Everyone bowed. After that, their voices rang out through the heavens and earth. Everyone below bowed. From today onwards, the Qingcheng Realm Lord will replace the lifelong Realm Lord, becoming the overlord of this vast region. Qin Wentian turned his gaze to everyone below as he spoke. From now on, the lifelong realm will no longer exist. Its name will be changed to the Qingcheng realm. This matter will be passed down through the 9 world palaces. Right now, I will appoint new world palace lords and change the names of the 9 world palaces. The lifelong realm changed its name. The 9 world palaces naturally had to change their names as well. For example, the Sky Air Palace. It was impossible for Qin Wentian to allow the name Sky Air Palace to continue existing. Qin Wentian's words caused many people to be filled with anticipation. Would a new world palace lord be born? This would change the structure of the Qingcheng realm in the future. The Desolate Heaven Palace, Xianyuan Palace and Gemini Palace will remain the same. The Three World Palace Lords will remain the same. The Skyer Palace will be renamed to the Battle Saint Palace and Qi Yu will be the Battle Saint Palace Lord. Qin Wentian gave out the first order after becoming a world overlord. The Battle Saint tribe was a taboo, and it naturally wasn't appropriate to name the new world palace as the Battle Saint Palace. The Battle Saint Palace was more suitable, and this world palace would naturally be governed by people from the Battle Saint tribe. The Dragon Saddle Palace will be renamed to the Southern Phoenix Palace. The Scarlet Origin Palace will be renamed to the Dark North Palace. The Zheng Metal Palace will be renamed to the GD Palace. The Kungvutter Palace will be renamed to the Myriad Devil Palace and the Lifire Palace will be renamed to the Jialan Palace. Qin Wentian continued. These names were all too familiar to the people of Azure Mystic. Even if Qin Wentian didn't say anything, they all understood who the new world palace lord would be. There was no suspense in the names of the previous world palaces. The Myriad Devil Palace should be the Bai Qing, who had the closest relationship with Qin Wentian. As for the Jialan Palace, it would naturally be the Jialan clan. Naturally, there were still many people who followed Qin Wentian to the supreme ancient immortal realms who hadn't been appointed. However, there were only so many positions and he could only temporarily arrange it this way. The Hokage Sengoku Kingdom was in an alliance with the Jadestige Pavilion and the 100 Refinements sect in Azure Mystic. In that case, Qin Wentian would allow them to govern the Dark North Palace together. As for this name, it was naturally because he wanted to take care of Princess Kitamura's father. With regards to this point, those who weren't taken care of wouldn't say anything. Princess Kitamura's relationship with Qin Wentian was clear to all. Also back then, Princess Kitamura and Qin Wentian came to the supreme ancient immortal realms to temper themselves, and they had even almost sacrificed themselves. As for the Chongqing the Great, Jun Mengchen, Little Rascal, Purgatory, Bai Wuya and the others, Qin Wentian planned to let them stay in the Lifelong Saint Hall. Naturally, the name of the Lifelong Saint Hall was also changed to Lifelong City. Lifelong City was changed to Qingcheng City. Just nice to complement his new title, Qingcheng Realm Lord. This Qingcheng City was naturally handed over to Chongqing the Great. The name of the Lifelong Realm was changed to Qingcheng Realm. 6 of the 9 world palaces were renamed to Battle Saint Palace, Southern Phoenix Palace, Dark North Palace, GD Palace, Myriad Devil Palace and Xianyuan Palace. From now on, the Lifelong Realm no longer existed. The Qingcheng Realm Lord stood tall in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, and in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms, a new titled World Overlord appeared. The Qingcheng Realm Lord. Chapter 1753. The Lifelong Realm Lord was destroyed. Qingcheng was rebuilt. The 9 world palaces were reorganized and the winds and clouds of the world changed. However, there were still many things that have yet to be settled. For example, those clans and powers that were punished, as well as the loyal followers of the Lifelong Realm Lord, and even the powers of the Lifelong Saint Hall. Realm Lord, how should we deal with these two? Also, the Qingcheng Saint Hall. The Xianyuan Palace Lord spoke. His gaze turned to the 2 concubines of the Lifelong Realm Lord. Before this, they were lofty existences, receiving the worship of the Lifelong Realm Lord. How glorious was that! But now they were the same as concubine Lu, their statuses were extremely awkward. Xianyuan Palace Lord, what do you think? Qin Wentian asked. Earlier, Chongsheng was disrespectful to Madame Yi. Realm Lord once said that he wants the 2 of them to dance together. The Xianyuan Palace Lord suggested. The expressions of the 2 fairies changed, becoming extremely unsightly to behold. Before this, their statuses were transcendent and even the Xianyuan Palace Lord had to bow when he saw them. But now he actually dared to humiliate them like this? However, they also understood that the situation was different now. Before this, their men insulted Qin Wentian's women. But now Qin Wentian killed their men. What would their fates be? Before this, the Lifelong Realm Lord had said that if he killed Qin Wentian, he would take care of Qin Wentian's women. Qin Wentian glanced at the Xianyuan Palace Lord but he didn't reply. He turned to the 2 maidens and asked, "How do you 2 think I should deal with the 2 of you?" The expressions of the 2 beautiful maidens changed. They bit their lips lightly, feeling extremely wronged. giving off a feeling that they were extremely charming. One of them bowed and spoke, "I'm willing to serve the Qingcheng Realm Lord and be a slave or a maid." Right now they only wanted to survive. At this moment they had to give up their pride. For the sake of survival, serving Qin Wentian was nothing much. After all, this man was even more outstanding compared to the lifelong Realm Lord. "I'm not as despicable as the lifelong Realm Lord," Qin Wentian coldly spoke. It was impossible for him to accept these maidens of the lifelong Realm Lord. He was very clear in his heart what it meant to be a slave. "Huangzhan, I'll give you a mission. Investigate clearly which maidens in the lifelong Realm Lord's harem was forced by him. Release them and release them. As for those maidens who were willing, as well as the descendants of the lifelong Realm Lord, let them live as ordinary people." Qin Wentian spoke. The people below nodded when they heard Qin Wentian. Before this, the words the lifelong Realm Lord spoke to Qin Wentian could be said to be extremely ruthless. However, after Qin Wentian killed him, he didn't take revenge. Qin Wentian released the women who were harmed and crippled the cultivation bases of the others. Although this was a little ruthless, he was already showing mercy. He didn't start a massacre and didn't even kill a single person. In the world of cultivation, who didn't know that cutting the weeds and pulling out the roots? If one wasn't ruthless to their enemies, they would be the one dying. Qin Wentian didn't care about revenge. But what about his family? What about his friends and family? The lifelong Realm Lord would surely have many women and children. Once one of them grew up and hid in the dark to take revenge on his family and friends, wouldn't he regret it for the rest of his life? Letting them live as ordinary people was already sparing them. If it was the lifelong Realm Lord who killed him, he would definitely be more vicious than him. However, Qin Wentian didn't intend to take revenge just because of this. If that was the case, there would be no difference between him and the lifelong Realm Lord. "Your subordinate obeys." Huangzhan bowed. Qin Wentian nodded. He glanced at the crowd below and spoke, "Today, everyone can temporarily leave. The grand banquet this time around has been spoiled. However, I will announce to the world that 3 months later, the Qingcheng realm will hold its first grand banquet. At that time there would be even more competitions and the rewards would be even more bountiful compared to the past. Everyone, please come again to watch the banquet." The grand banquet will be held 3 months later? The eyes of many people gleamed with sharpness. This trip was truly worthwhile. Not only did they manage to witness a heaven-shaking battle that changed dynasties, they would even be able to witness the first grand banquet of the Qingcheng realm 3 months later. They understood the meaning of this banquet. Back then, Qin Wentian succeeded the Lifire Empyrean after killing him. But this time around things were different. He had completely replaced the lifelong Realm Lord, changing the name of the Qingcheng realm. The first grand banquet of the Qingcheng realm would only be more lively compared to the past. One could predict that this would definitely be a grand banquet. During these 3 months, everyone should reorganize yourselves and control your own world palace as well. At the same time, I will have to trouble everyone to announce this to the world. Qin Wentian stared at the new world palace controller in the air as he spoke. "We will naturally do our best." Jialan Jiangshan bowed, feeling gratitude in his heart towards Qin Wentian. Right now, Qin Wentian's status was completely different from before. This time around, Qin Wentian didn't make use of their Jialan clan, and was truly considerate of them. He directly changed the name of the Lifire Palace to the Jialan Palace, and the New World Palace Lord would naturally be him, the leader of the Jialan clan. In addition, Qin Wentian intentionally handed the Lifire Palace over to them, because the Jialan clan's foundation was in Lifire City. In the past, Qin Wentian was the one who governed the Lifire Palace. It was very easy for him to take over, and there wouldn't be any problems. Jialan Yuntian and Jialan Yunhai exchanged mutual glances. The dream of the Jialan clan has always been realized. From now onwards, the Jialan clan would become a world palace lord, a marquis of an area. They could properly temper the members of their clan. If it wasn't for Jialan Choyue, I'm afraid we would have missed this opportunity again. In fact, we might even stand on the lifelong Realm Lord's side. Jialan Yuntian silently mused. He glanced at his granddaughter, but he noticed that Jialan Choyue's beautiful eyes were fixated on Qin Wentian. He helplessly shook his head. Regardless of Ditian or Qin Wentian, both of them were too outstanding. There was no young woman who wouldn't be moved by them. Disperse. Qin Wentian waved his hands. The crowd only felt that they wanted to continue, but since Qin Wentian has spoken, they could only leave. Everyone gradually dispersed. Qin Wentian came to Yi's side and spoke. Senior, it took you so long to come over. I apologize for my lack of manners. Qin Wentian was still very respectful towards Yi. No matter what his current status was, a few hundred years ago when he was still at the celestial phenomenon realm, he had already heard of Yi's legend. Yi inherited the power of God's hand. To Qin Wentian, no matter what his future status was, he would still be very respectful towards Yi. Yi smiled and shook his head. In the past I didn't feel it, but today I suddenly feel that I've aged. Qin Wentian started. After that, a bitter smile appeared on his face. Compared to Yi, he was truly too young. Senior, please don't say that. I've heard of Senior's legend all the way here. Qin Wentian spoke. Now that you mention it, I feel even older. He rolled his eyes. Qin Wentian had a face filled with black lines. It seemed that he had said the wrong thing. Haha. Upon seeing the awkward expression on Qin Wentian's face, Yi stretched out his hand and patted Qin Wentian on his shoulder. There are geniuses in every generation. I'm very happy to see that someone who came from Azure Mystic has such accomplishments. Because Azure Mystic was sealed for so many years, we lost contact with the outside world and also lacked resources. This caused many people to have extraordinary talent, but they didn't receive proper nurturing during their innate growth period. Their potential is inferior to others, and it's extremely rare for geniuses to appear. You are a miracle, and I can see that you have also brought many geniuses out from Azure Mystic. I feel very proud of you. Senior praises me too much. Qin Wentian knew in his heart that this wasn't due to his efforts. If it wasn't for the heavenly deities of ancient Azure Mystic, he wouldn't have the ability to bring out an army of Empyreans. You should go and busy yourself with your own matters first. There's no need to care about me. I will stay here for a few days, and 3 months later, I will come back and ask for a cup of wine from you. Yi laughed. Sure, it's a deal, Senior. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded. Yi went to the side of Emperor Yu. When old friends met, there were many emotions in their hearts. However, Emperor Yu was now a follower of Qin Wentian. It was naturally impossible for him to follow Yi. They wouldn't do this. This was a form of respect to Qin Wentian. The people of the Gemini Palace and many experts from the Battle Saint tribe gathered together. Right now, their Battle Saint tribe would be in control of 2 world palaces, the Battle Saint Palace and Gemini Palace. Qin Wentian brought his people into the lifelong Saint Hall and reorganized the place. After that, he handed everything over to the Desolate Heaven Empyrean and Xianyuan Empyrean, while he himself returned to the Livefire Palace after the Great Battle. He didn't like to deal with such trivial matters. It was fine for him to leave these matters to his subordinates. Qin Wentian naturally brought Yi Qinyu back to the Livefire Palace. The first meeting between Yi Qinyu, Qing'er and Qingcheng wasn't as awkward as Qin Wentian imagined. Yi Qinyu was extremely warm and cordial to Qing'er and Qingcheng. What sort of characters were Qingcheng and Qing'er? Since Yi Qinyu was now Qin Wentian's woman and had made many sacrifices for Qin Wentian, they were naturally willing to accept her. The 3 supreme beauties all had their own magnificence, and they soon got along well with each other. On the contrary, they even chased Qin Wentian out of the Livefire Palace, causing Qin Wentian to complain in a depressed manner. No matter what, he was already the Qingcheng Realm Lord. Wasn't this a little too embarrassing? Mo Qingcheng had a complacent smile on her face as she replied. Since this place was named the Qingcheng Realm Lord, wouldn't it be up to her and Qing'er to make the decisions? How would Qin Wentian dare to say no? He could only cover his face and leave, sighing at the fact that it was easy to conquer a world but hard to govern a harem. These 3 beauties all had their own unique charms, staying in the Livefire Palace while he was chased away. The Southern Phoenix Matriarch, the Dark North Immortal Emperor, and the others were all the rulers of the major powers below them. They had always been characters with towering authority, and there was no need to mention their methods. Now that they were in control of the 9 world palaces, Qin Wentian wasn't worried that they wouldn't be able to control the 9 world palaces. After the reorganization, the lifelong realm was renamed to the Qingcheng Realm Lord. The news of the lifelong realm being renamed to the Qingcheng Realm Lord, as well as 6 of the 9 world palaces, started to circulate through the world. The battle at the 100-year banquet where the Qingcheng realm lord, Qin Wentian, killed the lifelong realm lord was already known by everyone. Countless people were discussing about this on the streets and alleys. A legendary character was currently displaying his brilliance, rising up in the supreme ancient immortal realm lord. Very swiftly, the news that the Qingcheng realm lord would be hosting the first banquet also circulated. More and more people rushed to Qingcheng, wanting to meet the legendary character who killed the lifelong realm lord in a single battle. He only used 100 years to advance from the immortal emperor realm to the world overlord realm. First, he was a governor of the Lifire Palace, then he became the Lifire Empyrean, and finally, he became the Qingcheng realm lord. There were people who said that the name Qingcheng realm lord wasn't tyrannical at all. Those in the know snorted disdainfully, mocking them for being ignorant. The name of the Qingcheng realm lord was derived from the names of both of Qin Wentian's wives. Qin Wentian himself was titled the Qingcheng realm lord. What kind of relationship was this? This caused countless beauties in the world to be envious. Today, the first grand banquet of the Qingcheng realm will be held. Since everyone can come here to spectate, this can be considered a form of affirmation for me. 3 months ago, I've already said that the banquet this time around would only be better compared to the past banquets in the lifelong realm. Everyone can enjoy the delicacies and wine as they please. I won't be stingy at all. In addition, for those at the Immortal Foundation realm and above, there will be a competition at every level. The competition will be held on the 9 towering platforms at the same time. As long as you are here, you can participate. It isn't limited to people from the 9 world palaces. You can also be from the various major powers or unaffiliated cultivators. Anyone in the world can participate. For those who can rank in the top 10, I will heavily reward them. Qin Wentian then spoke. For those who rank in the top 3, if they are willing to take me as their master, I will let the world palace lords of the 9 world palaces choose one of them to be their disciple. When everyone heard this, the eyes of many gleamed with anticipation. However, when they thought about how intense the competition this time around would be, many people felt disappointed. Most probably they wouldn't have a chance. However, this time around the Qingcheng realm lord did indeed give many geniuses a chance. In fact, there were even people who could directly enter the tutelage of the world palace lords. Leaving aside the rewards given by the Qingcheng realm lord, just the conditions alone were sufficient to cause the hearts of many to be moved. Immortal Foundation experts also have a chance. Many juniors at the Immortal Foundation realm clenched their fists in excitement. This time around they definitely had to fight for it. To many people, this was an opportunity to ascend to the heavens with a single step, directly becoming a core character of the Qingcheng realm. Right now, the world palace lords of the 9 world palaces were all trusted aides of the Qingcheng realm lord. As long as one became a disciple of one of the world palace lords, they would have a chance to come into contact with the Qingcheng realm lord in the future. Everyone, there's no need to feel restrained. Just enjoy this banquet to your heart's content. Next, I will just quietly be a spectator. Everything will be arranged by the world palace lords. Qin Wentian smiled. He was originally already extremely young and handsome. This smile of his gave people the feeling of a spring breeze. Many people sighed in admiration. The charm of the Qingcheng realm lord surpassed the lifelong realm lord by countless times. He would definitely be able to insta-kill him. This smile of his caused many beauties to be dazed. Today, many young misses from the major powers of the Qingcheng realm had arrived. They heard that the Qingcheng realm lord was infatuated with love, and was also extremely young and handsome. Hence, they came over to take a look out of curiosity. After they saw him, they were even more envious of Mo Qingcheng and Qing Er, being able to accompany him by his side. The lifelong realm lord's harem was as many as the clouds. Right now, as the Qingcheng realm lord, Qin Wentian only had 3 beauties accompanying him. If the Qingcheng realm lord was willing, many beauties from the major powers would be willing to marry him. They heard that the Qingcheng realm lord, Qin Wentian, has cultivated for less than 1,000 years and was even younger than many immortal kings. It was impossible for the Qingcheng realm to find such an outstanding young man. The Red Dust Immortal Palace took the initiative to perform a beautiful dance. This time around, the beauties who performed the dance were all willing. Many among them were envious of Yi Qinyu. being able to accompany a legendary character like the Qingcheng Realm Lord. Senior Yi Wentian offers you a toast. When the banquet started, Qin Wentian really quietly became a spectator. He toasted Emperor Yi, who was seated not far away from him. He arranged for Emperor Yi to be seated in the same row as him. This was naturally a sign of respect for Emperor Yi. Emperor Yi's existence was also something that many people admired. Today they finally met two world overlords. Wentian, now that you have already caught up to me, there's no need to refer to me as senior. You can just refer to me as Emperor Yi. Emperor Yi spoke. I'm already used to it. After all, in my heart, Senior Yi has always been a senior character. Qin Wentian smiled. Alright, it's up to you then. I wonder how many people would be moved by your words earlier. Seems like you truly have the heart to nurture the juniors of the Qingcheng realm. Emperor Yi laughed. This world has never lacked geniuses. If there are truly people with outstanding talent and character, why not nurture them well? In the future, they would surely be able to become famous characters. Qin Wentian laughed. That's only natural. In the past, Chongqing didn't do so because of his selfishness. He has a strong desire for power, and he wouldn't want to see anyone in this world surpass him. He is still too narrow-minded. If he treats people sincerely, so what if there are people who surpass him? People would still respect him and wouldn't have any thoughts of replacing him. After all, at the World Overlord's level, there are many things one can pursue. That's true. Wentian, given your talent, I'm sure you wouldn't be limited to this, right? Although the Qingcheng realm is vast and boundless, it's already sufficient for someone like the lifelong Realm Lord. But to you, I feel that it's still too small. You should look for a wider world. Emperor Yi spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. This was only natural. Right now, although I've comprehended a Heaven Heart mandate and have the title of the Qingcheng Realm Lord, Senior should know that I haven't completely stepped into the World Overlord realm yet. Next, I'm preparing to focus on my cultivation until I establish my World Heart and step into the World Overlord realm. At the same time, I also want to understand the situation in the Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms. Qin Wentian spoke. This was his plan. The Supreme Ancient Immortal Realms were simply too vast. He wouldn't undervalue himself, but he wouldn't be arrogant and conceited either. Qin Wentian broadened his horizons in the ancient battlefield and saw all sorts of powerful Heaven Heart mandates. He naturally knew that the lifelong Realm Lord was merely one of the weaker world overlords. Although his current strength was sufficient to kill the lifelong Realm Lord, it was still insufficient in the outside world. If he encountered a world overlord who had comprehended a Heaven Heart mandate, he most probably wouldn't be a match for them. For the world overlord realm, there were no specific cultivation realms, because the disparity between world overlords could be boundlessly vast. There was basically no way to include all the different cultivation realms. Good thinking. However, now that you are in control of an entire world, you have to be able to endure the loneliness. He laughed. With such great authority, Qin Wentian could do whatever he wanted to do. He was unrestrained and no one could control him. He could enjoy life to his heart's content and even roam the world. As for cultivation, it was something extremely boring. To me, cultivation is also a form of pleasure. Qin Wentian smiled as he replied. His gaze turned to the crowd. Right now, the Qingcheng realm has been unified and he has become the world overlord. He has truly stabilized his footing in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Next, there would be a period of stability, and this period of time was extremely suitable for cultivation. There were still many places in the ancient battlefield he wanted to visit. How could he possibly feel bored? Every day of cultivation would be extremely fascinating. He was prepared to use a very long period of time to comprehend the secret realms in the ancient battlefield and break through to the world overlord realm. Treating cultivation as pleasure is also a type of realm. He smiled and shook his head. He couldn't do it. No wonder his talent wasn't as high as Qin Wentian's. At this moment, Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. After that, he frowned and stared in the distance together with Yi. At this moment, a group of figures could be seen flying over from afar, gradually getting nearer and nearer. This group of people was extremely majestic, and there were several Empyreans in the lead. Countless people below inclined their heads and stared at this group of people. Today, the Qingcheng Realm Lord was hosting a grand banquet, but there were actually people who directly flew into the air. This was an extremely impolite behavior. There were actually people in the Qingcheng realm who were so audacious. I pay my respects to the Qingcheng Realm Lord Qin Wentian. The person in the lead clasped his hands to Qin Wentian. This indicated that his attitude wasn't that respectful. Where are you all from? Qin Wentian stared at him with a calm expression. We are from the Heavenly Talisman Realm. We heard that Realm Lord Qin killed the lifelong Realm Lord and ascended to the position of Realm Lord. The Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord specially sent us seniors to congratulate you. That person laughed. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. The Heavenly Talisman Realm and the lifelong Realm Lord were neighbors. Their information network was extremely fast. I've received it. You guys can leave now. Qin Wentian directly chased them away. Since the attitude of the people from the Heavenly Talisman Realm wasn't polite, there was naturally no need for him to be polite as well. Realm Lord Qin can be considered to be from the same sect as us. Why is there a need to be so distant? Speaking of which, although Realm Lord Qin is a world overlord now, you can be considered my junior apprentice brother. My master, the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord, intentionally sent me here to congratulate you. That person laughed, his words instantly causing a huge commotion in the crowd. The Qingcheng Realm Lord Qin Wentian was the disciple of the Heavenly Talisman Realm Lord? Scram. Qin Wentian only replied with a single word. That person had a cold smile on his face and wanted to say more. Qin Wentian continued, if you dare to speak one more word, I will kill you. That person's expression instantly turned ugly to behold. He coldly laughed as he stared at Qin Wentian. Farewell. After speaking, he directly brought his people away. Seems like they came here purely to discuss Qin Wentian. In the lower world, Qin Wentian was someone who spoiled the plans of the Heavenly Talisman Realm. Clearly, this matter has already been circulated to the Supreme Ancient Heavenly Talisman Realm. When everyone saw Qin Wentian's attitude, they instantly knew that there must be something they didn't know about. If not, since Qin Wentian was so respectful to a senior like Yi, how could he not respect his master? Although they were curious about this matter, it wasn't something they should be thinking about. It was better for them to enjoy this banquet properly. In the future, they might have a chance to find out more. There's no need to bother about it. Everyone, please continue. Qin Wentian waved his hands as he spoke. The experts here nodded and the banquet of the Qingcheng realm continued. What happened earlier was merely a minor setback. It didn't affect the banquet at all. The storm in the ancient battlefield gradually calmed down, and there were no longer as many experts as before. However, there were still some people with extraordinary statuses who descended to the ancient battlefield. However, they were not as high profile as before, and were quietly searching for good fortune. The winds and clouds of the world changed. Tens of years passed by in the blink of an eye. Tens of years to the supreme ancient immortal realms were extremely short, and even to Azure Mystic it couldn't be considered much. But in the past few decades, Qin Wentian and the others had made great progress. Today, Qin Wentian came out from the Myriad Law Hall. He shook his head in a depressed manner. The Skybreak heavenly deity transformed into a shadow and appeared beside him. He smiled. How is it? Did you feel good? Senior, you are still teasing me. Qin Wentian bitterly smiled. The world of 10,000 laws wasn't merely a place for one to comprehend and cultivate. It was also a place for sparring and combat. Those monument spirits were all spiritual bodies and each of them had a heaven heart mandate, allowing them to unleash immense power. When they fought against those who entered the world of 10,000 laws, they could personally feel the power of their heaven heart mandates. Qin Wentian would often enter the world of 10,000 laws to spar. Right now, he has already comprehended quite a few heaven heart mandates and felt that he was extraordinary. Ordinary world overlords wouldn't be his opponent. But in the world of 10,000 laws, he was still defeated. It was still fine at the start as he could barge his way through. But at the end, when some powerful heaven heart mandates appeared, he could only be abused. His situation was actually no different from the Empyrean realm in the past. He would die instantly. Aha, you have already improved greatly. Being able to comprehend so many types of heaven heart mandates in such a short period of time, your talent is truly rare. Next, I will wait for you to comprehend your world heart. The Skybreak heavenly deity laughed. How is your comprehension of your world heart now? I'm still in the midst of trying to comprehend it. I have no idea when I will be able to break through. Qin Wentian replied. There's no need to be too anxious. Given your talent and comprehension abilities, you will naturally succeed when the conditions are right. To comprehend a world heart, you would rather spend more time to comprehend an even stronger world heart. In that case, you would be able to save many years of cultivation time in the future, and would be many times stronger compared to those world overlords who casually comprehended a world heart. The Skybreak heavenly deity spoke. He wouldn't have such a requirement for ordinary people, but it was different for Qin Wentian. His requirement was very high, extremely high. He hoped that Qin Wentian's world heart would shock the world with a single feat. What the Skybreak heavenly deity hoped for was that it was fine if Qin Wentian didn't become a world overlord. But once he did, he would be a transcendent level world overlord, and would be able to insta-kill those ordinary world overlords. Qin Wentian nodded. A world heart was truly very difficult. To him now, it was much easier to comprehend heaven heart mandates. Naturally, this was because his requirement was too high, or he would have long since comprehended a world heart and stepped into the world overlord realm. However, he wasn't willing to make do with this. Oh yeah, let me tell you a piece of bad news. It's said that Princess Kitamura is already trying to break through to the world overlord realm. She might break through before you. The Skybreak heavenly deity laughed. A strange look appeared on Qin Wentian's face. After that, a smile appeared on his face. He was naturally happy that Baiming Yuhuang's talent was good. In addition, Princess Kitamura's requirement wasn't as high as his. Baiming Yuhuang, who has already comprehended a heaven heart mandate, was preparing to directly comprehend a world heart. After that, she would be considered to have truly stepped into the world overlord realm. Just as they were speaking, in an extremely far-away place, a powerful beam of cold light radiated forth. That area seemed to have transformed into a world of ice and snow. Qin Wentian and the Skybreak heavenly deity both turned their gazes over there. Ice and snow danced in the air as the world transformed into a world of white frost, pure and flawless. A beautiful figure appeared in that world of ice and snow. She was like a goddess, radiating a dazzling light, pure as ice and as clean as jade. This was none other than Princess Kitamura. I was just saying that I'm about to break through. Who would have thought that it would actually come true? As expected, she is ahead of you. The Skybreak heavenly deity laughed. Qin Wentian stared at that beautiful figure as a smile flickered in his eyes. He was naturally happy to see Baiming Yuhuang breaking through. A world overlord had appeared by his side. In the future, there would be even more world overlords like Qing'er, Mengchen, Little Rascal and the others. He was truly filled with anticipation. Let's go. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as he flew towards that resplendent world of ice and snow. Not only for him, many people also noticed the situation over there. All of them flew over, and not long after, many people arrived before Princess Kitamura. They only saw Princess Kitamura descending from the sky, exuding a holy and pure aura. Back then, the lifelong realm lord actually wanted to take Yu Huang as his concubine. How ridiculous! Given the lifelong realm lord's talent, how could he be worthy of Yu Huang, let alone a concubine? Beside Baiming Yu Huang, there was an illusory figure that caused people to look up to her in awe. She was so sacred that no one dared to profane her. She was a true goddess, a heavenly deity. All the heavenly deities were very respectful to her, but they had never referred to her by her name. They didn't even know her title, nor did they talk about her. Only recently did Qin Wentian learn from the Skybreak heavenly deity that this goddess who guided Baiming Yu Huang had an extraordinary identity. She was actually the daughter of the imperishable heaven lord. Qin Wentian was naturally happy that Baiming Yu Huang could receive her guidance and become her master. Baiming Yu Huang was taught the death scripture by that undying freak, and now, the daughter of the imperishable heaven lord was guiding Baiming Yu Huang. Everything seemed to be destined. Yu Huang, your cultivation base now is higher than mine. Qin Wentian smiled. Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes turned to Qin Wentian. If you want to break through, you can do so any time. You don't need to console me. I won't be jealous of you. Qin Wentian joked. Yu Huang. The Dark North immortal emperor rushed over. When he saw his daughter, he felt joy in his heart. His daughter was actually already a world overlord character. This is all the credit of Master. Princess Kitamura glanced at the goddess beside her. If your comprehension abilities are bad, it's useless even if I guide you. The goddess was very calm. She calmly spoke, however, don't be complacent. Stepping into the world overlord realm is just the beginning. Next, you have to continue to change your world heart and make it stronger. I will listen to Master's teachings. Yu Huang nodded. You should gather with your friends first. The goddess spoke and left. Many people teased Qin Wentian, asking him when he would break through. After all, among everyone here, Qin Wentian's talent was undoubtedly the highest. But now, Yu Huang was the first to step into the world overlord realm. Qin Wentian felt that the pressure was extremely great. Next, Yu Huang naturally had to stabilize her world heart and condense her 8th astral soul. This was extremely important. After everyone gathered, they all left, not wanting to disturb Yu Huang's cultivation. Qin Wentian once again chose to enter closed-door seclusion. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, Di Tian roamed around the various minds of the Qingcheng realm. His 2 bodies were both comprehending at the same time. Cultivation had no time. Unknowingly, many years passed. 100 years had already passed. 100 years wasn't long to the supreme ancient immortal realms. But to Qin Wentian it was truly extremely long. He had never wholeheartedly devoted himself to cultivation before. But in order to break through to the world overlord realm, he actually used 100 years. From this, one could very well imagine how difficult it was for Qin Wentian to comprehend a transcendent world heart. In the Qingcheng Saint Hall, the Xinyuan Palace Lord came to meet with Di Tian, asking if Qin Wentian has returned. After all, the grand banquet of the Qingcheng realm was about to begin and the 9 world palaces were about to pay their taxes. In the Qingcheng Saint Hall, Qin Wentian received him. Not only was Qin Wentian here, the Xinyuan Palace Lord also discovered that many world palace lords from the 9 world palaces were here as well. This caused the Xinyuan Palace Lord to sigh in admiration. These people were truly Qin Wentian's trusted aides. After hearing that they weren't around during these years, the Xinyuan Palace Lord was actually very curious about where Qin Wentian and the others went to. Did they go to the ancient battlefield again? However, he didn't dare to ask. Qin Wentian didn't take the initiative to tell him. He knew that he shouldn't ask. I pay my respects to Realm Lord. The Xinyuan Palace Lord spoke. I was just thinking if Realm Lord would participate in the 2nd grand banquet of the Qingcheng realm. Seems like my worries were unnecessary. This time around I will leave the grand banquet to you all. I will just take a look. However, Xinyuan Palace Lord, I just received an invitation. Qin Wentian spoke. What invitation? The Xinyuan Palace Lord asked. Take a look for yourself. Qin Wentian waved his hand. An extremely exquisite and resplendent invitation flew towards the Xinyuan Palace Lord. His eyes narrowed as he stared at the words on the invitation. His heart involuntarily trembled. There were only 4 words engraved on the invitation. Convention of the Myriad Realms. Chapter 1756. When Qin Wentian saw the reaction of the Xinyuan Palace Lord, he knew that the Xinyuan Palace Lord knew about the Convention of the Myriad Realms. He then asked, Xinyuan Palace Lord, do you have any understanding of this convention? I know a little, but this subordinate doesn't have the qualifications to come into contact with it. The Convention of the Myriad Realms is a peak-level event, even in the supreme ancient immortal realms. This subordinate doesn't even have the qualifications to participate in it. The Xinyuan Palace Lord shook his head. 100 years after Realm Lord ascended to the throne, the Convention of the Myriad Realms coincidentally started, and you received an invitation. Seems like this is an acknowledgement of Realm Lord's strength and status. Oh. Qin Wentian glanced at the Xinyuan Palace Lord. During these 100 years, other than his cultivation, he understood a lot about the situation in the supreme ancient immortal realms. But even so, it was impossible for him to know everything about the supreme ancient immortal realms. He wasn't very clear about the Convention of the Myriad Realms, and this was why he asked the Xinyuan Palace Lord. Tell me the details, Qin Wentian said. The convention of the myriad realms is one of the most peak-level events in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Only those world overlords who control vast territories would have the qualifications to receive an invitation. Naturally, there's no need to say anything about those supreme powers and clans. This is a peak-level event that belongs to the various powers in the supreme ancient mystic realms. It's basically not something our Qingcheng Realms convention can compare to. The scale of the convention is so vast that it includes countless powers like the Qingcheng realm. The Xianyuan Palace Lord spoke. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed with sharpness. This was actually a gathering at the pinnacle of the mystic region. Seems like the current him, as a world overlord of a region, could be considered to have already reached the border of this world and had the qualifications to come in contact with people of this level. He has cultivated for many years and has participated in many of these gatherings. Many of them were extremely magnificent and had a great influence on him. But now the invitation he received might very well be a grand event that surpassed all the previous ones. The supreme ancient immortal realms were simply too vast. The people of the supreme ancient immortal realms divided it into 8 regions. They were named Heaven, Earth, Mystic, Yellow, Universe, Aeon, Flood, and Desolate. The place where the Qingcheng realm was located at belonged to the Mystic region, and was also known as the Supreme Ancient Mystic Region. The mysterious domain was so big that it was said to encompass 10,000 realms. It was simply unimaginably vast. Was it initiated by those existences from the Xian region? Qin Wentian looked at the Xianyuan Palace Lord and asked. This is the rule since ancient times. The convention of the myriad realms happens once every 10,000 years. The convention is the pinnacle of the supreme ancient mystic region, and the invitations would be sent out 3 years in advance, allowing people to have time to prepare. I heard that Chongsheng has also participated in it before, but after that, he didn't mention it again. Maybe he didn't want to participate anymore. Naturally, I'm not very clear about the details. In any case, Chongsheng has never mentioned this before. The Xianyuan Palace Lord spoke. Qin Wentian nodded. There were many reasons why the lifelong Realm Lord didn't mention this matter. But the biggest possibility was that the lifelong Realm Lord basically didn't have much of a presence in the grand banquet. In fact, he didn't even attend the banquet after that, or he didn't receive an invitation. Naturally, the lifelong Realm Lord was already dead. There was no way to verify this point. One could only guess. However, Qin Wentian only needed to imagine a little to know this. This was the pinnacle banquet of the supreme ancient mystic region. The number of world overlords who were invited were as many as the hairs on an ox. For someone with the lifelong Realm Lord strength, even if he participated, it would be hard for him to have much of a presence. This invitation is truly simple. There's no time or location at all. Qin Wentian laughed. There were only 4 words on the invitation card: Convention of the Myriad Realms. However, this by itself was already a type of transcendent aura. These 4 words were sufficient to represent everything. From the moment Realm Lord received the invitation, 3 years should be the time. The Xianyuan Palace Lord spoke. Do you know what the purpose of the Convention of the Myriad Realms is exactly? Qin Wentian asked. This subordinate really has no idea. This is too far away from this subordinate. Hence, this subordinate doesn't have any concrete understanding. I've only heard of the fame of the Convention of the Myriad Realms. The Xianyuan Palace Lord bitterly smiled and shook his head. Even the Xianyuan Palace Lord wasn't clear about the details of the peak banquet of the supreme ancient mystic region. From this, one could very well imagine how vast the supreme ancient mystic region was. Many news wouldn't even reach the Qingcheng realm. I got it. Qin Wentian nodded. Go and prepare for the banquet. Xianyuan Palace Lord, I'll have to trouble you for the following matters. Everything will be handled by you guys. Realm Lord is too polite. This is something this subordinate should do. I will definitely do my best. The Xianyuan Palace Lord clasped his hands. This subordinate shall take his leave. After speaking, he directly left this place. After the Xianyuan Palace Lord left, Qin Wentian stared at the invitation that had already returned to his hand. A peak-level gathering in the mystic region. Should he attend it? Very swiftly, he made a decision in his heart. This time around, he would be able to meet with the peak characters of the various regions, supreme world overlords, as well as experts from the peak powers of the supreme ancient mystic region. Such an opportunity would only appear once every 10,000 years. He mustn't miss it. He decided to go. What do you think? At this moment, the skybreak heavenly deity's voice rang out in Qin Wentian's mind, conversing with him. Senior, I've decided to participate. Qin Wentian replied. Now that you have already broken through to the World Overlord realm, it's time for you to go out and roam the world. Take a look at the peak powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms. Although you won't be able to meet any heavenly deities, you should be able to see quite a few world overlords and juniors from these powers. You can also take this opportunity to see how outstanding the people nurtured by the peak powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms are. The skybreak heavenly deity spoke. He naturally hoped that Qin Wentian would participate. There was no need to doubt this. He had high hopes for Qin Wentian, hoping that Qin Wentian would be able to climb to the peak of the world. I'm filled with anticipation as well. Qin Wentian's eyes shone like the stars in the sky. In the ancient battlefield, he saw many heavenly deities and experienced secret realms like the world of 10,000 laws. But what about the true peak characters of the supreme ancient immortal realms? He basically had no way to come into contact with them in the Qingcheng realm. He would be able to see them in the convention of the myriad realms. It's just that in the mystic region of the supreme ancient immortal realms, there weren't any peak powers or heavenly deity clans with the surname Qin. Where was the clan that his parents were from exactly? Would he have a chance to meet them in the convention? Right now he has already stabilized his footing in the supreme ancient immortal realms, and has truly stepped into the world overlord realm. He no longer had the title of Qingcheng Realm Lord. In the depths of his heart he was starting to stir. This was especially so when he thought of everything he saw in his mind back then. When he saw everything his father had to endure, he felt an intense impulse. He wanted to crush this entire world and kill all those so-called clansmen who acted against his father back then. If he didn't take revenge for this, he wouldn't be worthy of being a son. Also, he knew even less about his mother. He really wanted to know what sort of outstanding character his mother was. Right now, he finally had the qualifications to come in contact with that level of character. He would definitely reach that step. Chapter 1757. The supreme ancient immortal realms stood at the pinnacle of the 33 immortal realms. They were split into 8 regions: heaven, earth, mystic, illusion, cosmos, desolate, and desolate. The division of these 8 regions had deep meanings. For each region, the number of lower worlds they controlled was roughly the same. In the 33 immortal realms, other than the supreme ancient immortal realms, there were also 32 lower worlds. Other than the desolate region, the number of lower worlds controlled by the peak powers of each region was 4. The desolate region had 3 because Azure Mystic wasn't controlled by any power. If not, each of the 32 lower worlds would have 4 immortal realms under their control. Naturally, this was an ideal number. If the Azure Mystic immortal realms weren't sealed, it was unknown which hegemonic power would control it. In the mystic region there were 3 hegemonic powers. Each of them controlled 4 greater worlds. From this, one could very well imagine how powerful they were. Naturally, these 3 hegemonic powers also had many vassal powers under them. All of them were so powerful that no one could look at them directly. But according to Qin Wentian's understanding of the situation in the supreme ancient immortal realms, the hegemonic powers of the mystic region weren't the strongest. He had long heard from the undying old freak that there was a Buddhist sect in the supreme ancient immortal realms that controlled 4 immortal realms. How powerful was this? This meant that this power represented an entire region. In addition, even in the mystic region, it wasn't hard to understand which region this hegemonic power belonged to. It was located in the western region of the supreme ancient immortal realms, the universe region, also known as the Pure Land of Bliss. The location of the convention of the myriad realms had always been fixed. It was just that because the Qingcheng realm was located far away, many people had never heard of it before. But if one made some inquiries, they would know that the location of the convention of the myriad realms once every 10,000 years had always been the symbolic ancient city of the mystic region. In ancient times, when the 8 regions were divided, the first heavenly deity came from this city. That was a legendary character known as the Time King City, and there were also people who referred to him as the Time King. In order to commemorate the place where he was born, this city was named Time City. Right now, Qin Wentian arrived at this incomparably ancient and majestic city. It has already been over 2 years since he received the invitation. There were still several months before the convention of the Myriad Realms would be held in this city. He came here a few months earlier, traversing many realms and spending a long time before he arrived. Naturally, not only Qin Wentian came, there were many people who came with him. Qingcheng, Princess Kitamura, Nanfeng Yaoyue and the others. They all came with him, preparing to take a look at the convention of the Myriad Realms. Right now, everyone here had extraordinary strength and they could do and could realms. Qin Wentian Qin Sek Lords of Realms could realms, and could world realms and he realms world king ancient. As for the Qingcheng realm, it was already very stable now. The 9 world palaces have already controlled the Qingcheng realm for 100 years. And there wouldn't be any chaos. Little Rascal, who had transformed into a golden-winged great rock, swooped down from the air and landed on the ground. Numerous majestic buildings towered into the clouds. One had to be careful when flying in the air. Occasionally, there would be supremely powerful greater demons flying through the air. These greater demons included dragons, phoenixes, kirans and other auspicious saint beasts. There were also terrifying beasts like the Taotai and Qiongqi. Naturally, there were also mutated and rare demonic beasts. I feel that those extremely rare Empyreans in the Qingcheng realm are nothing here. Jun Mengchen glanced at the experts in the surroundings as he spoke. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. In the past, powers like the lifelong Saint Hall would always have stricter control over their cities. Ordinary characters basically wouldn't have the qualifications to stay in lifelong city, let alone this legendary city, Time City. Senior brother, did you see any world overlords? Jun Mengchen asked Qin Wentian. Even now, he was still used to referring to Qin Wentian as senior brother. There are quite a few. Qin Wentian nodded. Where are their world overlords? Jun Mengchen's eyes flashed with excitement. He hadn't met many world overlords before, only a few at most. Now that he came to Time City, he wanted to see how strong the world overlords here were. That white-haired senior in front of you. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice to Jun Mengchen. Jun Mengchen started as he stared ahead. Over there was a white-haired old man who was currently bending his back as he advanced forward. He looked extremely old and was dressed in the simplest of robes. It couldn't be any more ordinary. Senior brother, you aren't lying to me, right? Jun Mengchen blinked. As he spoke, the old man in front halted and turned his head back to glance in Jun Mengchen's direction. His eyes narrowed into slits and a smile could be seen on his face. Although he looked old, his smiling eyes gleamed with a terrifying light. At this instant, Jun Mengchen only felt his soul being imprisoned as he stood there in a daze. Who asked you to speak nonsense? Quickly apologized to this senior. Qin Wentian smiled. When he spoke, a formless energy circulated around him. After that, Jun Mengchen felt much more relaxed. The old man smiled as he glanced at Qin Wentian. Junior was rude, please don't blame me. Jun Mengchen smiled. At this moment, he no longer doubted the old man's words. No worries. The old man laughed. He then turned to Qin Wentian. Sir, are you here to participate in the convention of the Myriad Realms? Is old sir here as well? Qin Wentian smiled and nodded. Yes. The old man nodded. You even brought your family and friends along. Junior, you are truly interesting. I've never been to a faraway place before. Since it's such a rare opportunity, I naturally have to come and broaden my horizons. Qin Wentian replied. That's true. The old man nodded. After that, he turned and his silhouette flickered as he vanished from sight. Jun Mengchen almost thought that his eyes were playing tricks on him. But the area before him was already empty. Even his immortal sense couldn't find the old man. How fast? Jun Mengchen sighed in admiration. Qin Wentian smiled at him. Who told you to speak nonsense? This place is Time City. A place filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. Other than that old man earlier, there was another extremely young man on our left. Did you notice him? He seems to be around my age. He's also a world overlord. Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. Jun Mengchen rolled his eyes, feeling somewhat speechless and somewhat depressed. Right now, he hasn't even broken through to the world overlord realm yet. Let's find an inn to stay in first. We still have to stay in Time City for a period of time. Qin Wentian spoke. Everyone nodded in agreement. After such a long journey, they finally arrived at Time City. It was about time for them to rest. During these few days, they didn't eat anything and wanted to try out the delicacies and wine in Time City. Although stellar martial cultivators wouldn't be affected if they didn't eat, it was only normal for humans to have cravings for food. In addition, the food in the supreme ancient immortal realms wasn't just food. All of them were heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures. While enjoying a meal, it would also transform one's body. Not long after, everyone found an inn to stay in. Within the inn there was also a restaurant. Within the pavilions, one could enjoy the delicacies while admiring the scenery in the distance. Little Rascal transformed into his puppy form. His appetite was extremely huge and he wolfed down the food quickly. Jun Mengchen wasn't any better off. Although the actions of the beauties were elegant, Mo Qingcheng couldn't help but to sigh. The ingredients used for this food are all treasures I've never heard of before. After the food entered my stomach, the energy in my body automatically circulated and I felt extremely comfortable. Right now, Mo Qingcheng was only at the Immortal Emperor realm. The feeling was naturally extremely intense. Even for Empyreans, they all felt a sense of pleasure. Sister-in-law, why don't you look at the price of this meal? Using world stones as the unit of measurement? This is simply too extravagant. Senior brother, is there a need for you to do this? Jun Mengchen speechlessly spoke. Those were world stones. Just a single one was priceless. It's rare for me to come out. I naturally have to enjoy life. Qin Wentian was in a very good mood. It was rare for everyone to be able to gather together and leisurely enjoy delicacies and wine. It wasn't a big deal to spend some money. Right now, as the Qingcheng Realm Lord, all the resources in this world belonged to him. Although world stones were precious, he didn't lack them. In addition, he also brought out many good items from the divine depositories in the ancient battlefield. Sir, you must have come from a faraway place, right? A beauty who came to serve the dishes smiled at Jun Mengchen as she asked. She originally belonged to the category of beauties that were extremely comfortable to look at. She was youthful and beautiful, and when she smiled, she exuded a sense of friendliness. Such a beauty was actually just a serving girl serving food. How could such treatment not be considered extravagant? You managed to see through me. Jun Mengchen laughed. In Time City, it's considered normal to enjoy a meal. How can it be considered extravagant? Didn't you go to those places where divine weapons and accessories are traded? Those places are truly extravagant. Sir, if you want to buy a set of clothes or a set of accessories for those beautiful fairies, you would have to spend tens of millions of world stones. Also, the quality of the world stones cannot be too low. The serving girl warmly smiled. She didn't seem to have the intention to be teased. What kind of clothes and accessories are these? Jun Mengchen was somewhat dumbfounded. Of course, it's a world deity weapon refined by a powerful grandmaster. It's just a piece of clothing or an accessory. It might not look eye-catching, but it's actually an extremely powerful treasure. There are offensive and defensive types, and it's a combination of beauty and practicality. The mate smiled. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he glanced at the serving girl. These words seemed to be spoken to Mo Qingcheng and Qing who were beside him. This beautiful serving girl was very intelligent, using such a method to introduce herself to him. I really wish to go there. Are you willing to be my guide? Naturally, I will pay you a certain amount of remuneration. Qin Wentian smiled. He actually needed a guide to understand Time City and the convention of the myriad realms. If Sir has a need, I will naturally obey. It's just that Sir can see that I'm currently doing something and can only be done tomorrow. The serving girl bowed. Sure. Qin Wentian nodded. Yizi will wait here for Sir tomorrow. The serving girl bowed to Qin Wentian before she retreated. Senior brother, don't tell me you want to help sister-in-law buy accessories? Jun Mengchen blinked his eyes. I feel that the young woman intentionally said that when she saw sister-in-law. Naturally, but it's also good that we can roam around and broaden our horizons. Even if we don't want to buy accessories, shouldn't we stroll around this Time City? How can we not have a guide? Qin Wentian smiled. Jun Mengchen nodded. Nanfeng Yaoyue and the others smiled as they glanced at Qin Wentian. Given how much this fellow doted on Qing'er and Mo Qingcheng, he would really go all out. Chapter 1758. On the second day, Yizi agreed to the appointment and brought Qin Wentian and the others out of the inn. This beautiful serving girl had a cultivation base at the immortal emperor realm, and was also young and beautiful. If she was an azure mystic, she would definitely be a dazzling character. But this place was Time City and she was merely a serving girl. This was the disparity between realms so great that it was unimaginable. The Southern Phoenix matriarch also felt that this was a little surreal. Before they followed Qin Wentian, they were merely at the immortal emperor realm as well. Sir Qin, where do you want to go? Yizi smiled at Qin Wentian. From the start she gave off a strong sense of affinity. Although her beauty couldn't be compared to Imo Qingcheng, or the Southern Phoenix matriarch, she was extremely beautiful when she smiled. Didn't you intentionally tempt me yesterday? Let's go take a look at divine weapons and accessories. Qin Wentian smiled at Yizi. You can see through me. A mischievous look appeared on Yizi's face. Sir Qin, those who can use world stones to enjoy delicacies in the inn are mostly people who came from outside to participate in the convention of the myriad realms. I saw that Sir Qin has many beautiful fairies around you and hence, I thought that Sir Qin might have a need in this aspect. Hence, I intentionally said that to earn some compensation for leading the way. After all, for cultivators like Yizi who don't have a powerful background, they have to rely on themselves to earn resources. This is the fastest way to earn money. Sir Qin, you won't blame Yizi, right? If I blame you, I wouldn't have invited you here. Qin Wentian smiled. The people behind him also sighed. It wasn't easy to become an immortal emperor in this place. Many thanks for Sir Qin's understanding. In Time City there are all sorts of divine weapons. What the fairies need should be at the world grade, right? Yizi asked. Qin Wentian nodded. Although Ditian could forge weapons, he clearly didn't have the ability to forge world-grade divine weapons. Most probably, only world overlords who had immersed themselves in the Tao of weapon forging for many years would be able to do so. In that case, I will bring Sir Qin to the Heaven Immortal Tower. There are many exquisite world-grade divine weapons there. Yizi spoke. Just lead the way. Qin Wentian nodded. He then asked Yizi how many world overlords would participate in the convention. He was filled with anticipation for this. Yizi was a cultivator who had been living in Time City for a long time. He would definitely be well informed and would know much more than him. The convention of the myriad realms is derived from the meaning of the myriad realms. The myriad heavens refers to the four worlds governed by the mystic region. In addition to Yohuang's strength at the world overlord level, she would have an additional layer of protection in battle in the future. He didn't think too much about it. However, Princess Kitamura's reaction caused Qin Wentian to feel somewhat awkward. He could only stare at everyone and ask, does everyone not feel that this is the case? I also feel that it's more suitable for Yohuang's demeanor. Nanfeng Yaoyue smiled when she saw this scene, trying to diffuse the awkwardness. I also feel that it's more suitable for elder sister Yuhuang compared to elder sister Qing. Imo Qingqing smiled as she stared at Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian felt a little guilty when he saw Imo Qingqing's smile. However, he really didn't think too much about it. He only felt that it was more suitable for Yuhuang. What's the price? Imo Qingqing directly asked. 300 ordinary world stones. If there are any extraordinary world stones, the price will be calculated separately. The serving girl smiled as she replied. Imo Qingqing glanced at Qin Wentian. You should be able to afford it, right? Qin Wentian nodded. He had quite a lot of ordinary world stones. Okay, we'll take it then. Imo Qingqing smiled and directly decided. The people behind her stared at Imo Qingqing with admiration in their eyes. Such a woman, no wonder Qin Wentian would be so deeply in love with her. After Qin Wentian bought it, he gave it to Yuhuang. This caused Yuhuang to feel extremely awkward, but she still accepted it. On the way, she lowered her head and didn't have the mood to admire the treasures in the Heaven Immortal Tower. Qingqing, do you two like anything? Qin Wentian asked. This time around you didn't come. The Qingcheng Saint Hall also needed someone to take care of it. I don't need it. Qing shook her head. No, why don't we take that robe? Imo Qingqing pulled Qing along as they walked forward. Over there was a set of robes hanging there. The lines of the robes were extremely soft, and they were green in color. Faintly, A resplendent glow could be seen emanating from it. The two fairies have good eyesight. This is the divine concealment robe. It has the ability to conceal oneself and has a powerful defense. If it isn't destroyed, it can be used repeatedly. A serving girl introduced. It's so beautiful. How many world stones? Mo Chingcheng directly asked. 20,000 ordinary world stones. The serving girl smiled. Mo Chingcheng's beautiful eyes flashed as she weakly glanced at Qin Wentian. Let's go. Qing spoke in a light voice. This number was too terrifying. Mo Chingcheng felt some reluctance. She stretched out her hand, wanting to touch the robe. You are not allowed to touch it. The smile on the serving girl's face suddenly vanished. She berated, causing Mo Chingcheng's body to tremble as her hand froze in midair. I'm sorry, the items here are for sale and cannot be touched casually. If there are any flaws, you might have second thoughts if you want to purchase it. The serving girl smiled. However, the aura she exuded earlier still caused Mo Chingcheng to jump in fright. The serving girl was actually at the Empyrean realm. At that instant, she felt a wave of pressure boring down on her. Also, Mo Chingcheng could sense that although the serving girl was smiling, her eyes were filled with disdain. After all, she was merely at the immortal emperor realm. No wonder the serving girl would act like this. I'm sorry. Mo Chingcheng retracted her hand and apologized in a low voice. Miss Chingcheng, are you all right? Yi Zi hurriedly ran over. That voice earlier caused the gazes of many in the Heaven Immortal Tower to turn over. Qin Wentian walked over. His gaze was cold when he stared at the serving girl. As an Empyrean, the serving girl could easily stop Mo Chingcheng or use gentle methods to warn her. Such a berating tone was extremely impolite. Although the serving girl smiled after that, given how sharp Qin Wentian's eyes were, he could clearly see the disdain in the serving girl's eyes. Most probably Chingcheng could sense it as well. Along the way, he had always been carefully protecting Chingcheng, afraid that she would be overly sensitive because her cultivation base was too low. He had always loved her deeply and even brought her along when he attended the convention of the Myriad Realms. He didn't expect that she would be berated by someone here. Chapter 1759. Right now, Qin Wentian's eyes were cold. The serving girl naturally saw it, but she still had a professional smile on her face. Although it wasn't sincere, it was hard to find any fault with it. She could naturally sense that the person before her was a world overlord, but she didn't feel anything. How could a world overlord be so rare to work in a place like the Heaven Immortal Tower? She could see them every day. Those who could come to the Heaven Immortal Tower were usually led by world overlords. Also, the items she sold were worth over 10,000 world stones, and the customers she came in contact with were all extraordinary. Ordinary world overlords wouldn't be able to afford them. Hence, to her, although world overlords were seniors, they didn't cause her to feel any fear. In addition, the background of the Heaven Immortal Tower was already so powerful. There were already several world overlords in charge here. What do you mean? Qin Wentian coldly asked. Senior is referring to? The serving girl smiled as she replied, pretending that the earlier incident didn't happen at all. What do you think? Qin Wentian's voice grew colder by several degrees. Senior is referring to the incident earlier? The serving girl smiled. My apologies, this robe truly cannot be touched. If a finger mark is left behind, it might affect the desire of other customers. This is the rule here. I hope Senior won't take offense. If it cannot be touched, you can tell her. Given your cultivation base and reaction speed, you can use many gentle methods to stop her. Berating a customer, is this the attitude you should have? Qin Wentian questioned. Senior, please don't blame me. Before this, I've already apologized. The serving girl still had a smile on her face. Is that the attitude you should have when apologizing? Qin Wentian stared at her. Senior, what do you want me to do? The serving girl also seemed to be angered. She inclined her head and stared straight into Qin Wentian's eyes. She didn't expect that a conflict would occur. This was something she didn't want to see the most. She could naturally feel that although Qin Wentian was amiable and approachable, he was actually a very proud person. He was also very amiable to the people around him. However, she also sensed that the people around him either loved him deeply or were very respectful to him. Such a person must be a top character in the outside world, holding a high position. How could he not seek an explanation for his wife being berated by someone else? However, the Heaven Immortal Tower wasn't an ordinary place. It was fine if this serving girl admitted her mistake. But from her attitude, it was clear that she didn't intend to admit her mistake at all. She was worried that this serving girl might have some sort of background, hence she arranged for her to work in the Heaven Immortal Tower. After all, the commission rate for working here was extremely terrifying. Ordinary people wouldn't be able to enter this place. If this was the case and neither side compromised, the matter would definitely be blown out of proportion. Although Qin Wentian was reasonable, it was not something that could be explained with reason. Bow and apologize to my wife, and I'll let it go, Qin Wentian said lightly. Forgive me for not being able to comply with Senior's request. The serving girl domineeringly replied. The pressure from Qin Wentian gushed forth, bearing down on the serving girl. The serving girl only felt an extreme pressure, and her expression instantly turned unsightly. I'm just doing things according to the rules. Senior, why are you bullying me like this? Are you purely here to create trouble? She instantly retorted, saying that Qin Wentian was the one creating trouble. Also, Qin Wentian was at the World Overlord realm. If he said that he was bullying a woman at the Empyrean realm, it would truly be unreasonable. It would seem like she was the one who was wronged. Sir, what are you doing? At this moment a voice rang out. With a flash of light, a black-robed middle-aged man appeared here. There were two people behind him and all of them were staring at Qin Wentian. The black-robed middle-aged man was the manager of the Heaven Immortal Tower, and was responsible for maintaining order here. But usually, there wouldn't be any incidents in the Heaven Immortal Tower. Usually, he would be in meditation and it was only because someone interrupted him earlier that he came here. 3 world overlords. Qin Wentian glanced at them and instantly knew that these 3 were all world overlords. This was especially so for the black-robed middle-aged man in the lead. He gave off an extraordinary feeling and was definitely very powerful. If not, although the Heaven Immortal Tower had a powerful background, there would occasionally be troublesome matters that would occur. They needed experts who could handle them. Old Hua, this young miss wanted to touch the divine robe but was stopped by me. Hence, this senior came here to question me, wanting me to bow and apologize. The serving girl spoke. Old Hua nodded, sir. It's true that some valuable treasures of the Heaven Immortal Tower are forbidden to be touched. I hope you can understand. Did you speak out to stop her? Clearly, you were coldly berating her and even released your aura. How imposing, but now, you are speaking in such an aggrieved manner. Mo Qingqing's matter naturally should be handled by Qin Wentian. However, Jun Mengchen truly couldn't bear to watch this anymore. Hence he asked. This woman was really good at acting. Is there such a thing? Old Hua asked the serving girl. I didn't do it intentionally, I only shouted it out due to the circumstances. My voice was slightly loud and I've already said my apologies. The serving girl continued. No matter what, she was still an Empyrean expert and naturally wouldn't be so foolish to the point of showing her disdain and insulting Mo Qingqing. But in her heart and in her eyes, there was no way for her to express her disdain. Qin Wentian and the others could all feel it. She was in the wrong in this matter, but since she has already apologized, I hope that you won't take this matter to heart. If she has disturbed your mood, please forgive us. Old Hua nodded to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian was also a world overlord. Although the Heaven Immortal Tower didn't really care about this, they wouldn't intentionally offend a customer. If this matter was to spread out, their reputation wouldn't be good. Hence they still had to say some polite words. In that case, according to Sir's meaning, she berated my wife and released her aura to threaten me. Yet she just said her apologies and let it go? Also, when she said the word sorry, her head was still held high with a smile on her face. Qin Wentian asked, Sir, please don't blame her for her rudeness. When I return, I will definitely make her change her attitude. Old Hua replied, but in truth what he said was equivalent to not saying anything. His meaning was that Qin Wentian shouldn't pursue this matter anymore, and he would teach her a lesson when they return. But who would know what would happen in the future? Wentian, forget it. Qingqing tugged on Qin Wentian's sleeves as she spoke in a low voice. She knew what place this was. In Time City, experts were as common as the clouds. World overlords could be seen everywhere. The Heaven Immortal Tower had so many treasures for sale here. How could their background not be deep? She naturally didn't wish for Qin Wentian to cause trouble because of her. Qin Wentian turned his gaze to Qingqing as he spoke gently. Just leave it to me. Qingqing started. She felt warmth in her heart, but she didn't say anything more. Sir, you mean that we should forget about this matter just like that? Qin Wentian glanced at Old Hua. Upon seeing that Qin Wentian wasn't willing to let things go, Old Hua frowned. There were already many experts gathered in the surroundings. This wouldn't have a good influence on the Heaven Immortal Tower. He then spoke, Sir, why must you do this? You are affecting the business of my Heaven Immortal Tower. Seems like I'm in the wrong. Qin Wentian had a self-mocking smile. He took out an interspatial ring and passed it to Old Hua. Take a look and see if the ores inside are enough to buy 20,000 world stones. Old Hua froze. Wasn't Qin Wentian's attitude changing a little too quickly? However, he still accepted the interspatial ring and examined it. After which, he nodded his head. Just a rough estimate should be enough. I'll get someone to calculate it. There's no need. I want this robe. Qin Wentian pointed to the divine concealment robe. This scene caused many people to have expressions of amazement on their faces. Chapter 1760. She was merely a world overlord. Although she was just a serving girl, it was just like what Yi Zifeng had guessed. Serving girls who could work in the Heaven Immortal Tower would usually have an extraordinary background. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, there were many powerful powers that were half-clans and half-sections. The core of these powers was the clan, but they didn't reject accepting powerful geniuses from other clans. There were disciples, subordinates, servants, etc. After countless years of accumulation, they would eventually form into a supreme power. The controller of the Heaven Immortal Tower was an extremely famous power in Time City, the Dragon Pool Manor. The number of experts there were as many as the clouds, and there were even quite a few at the World Overlord realm. The Dragon Pool Manor Lord was none other than the clan leader of the Dragon Pool Manor. His authority towered up into the sky. In Time City, there was no one who didn't know of the Dragon Pool Manor. This serving girl was named Jin Ji. Her name was derived from the Chinese characters golden branches and jade leaves. Her beauty was truly outstanding, but she herself didn't have an illustrious background. However, she relied on her beauty and methods to climb up to the Dragon Pool Manor behind the Heaven Immortal Tower. She was the girlfriend of a young genius world overlord from the Dragon Pool Manor. Hence, she, who had an ordinary background, could work in the Heaven Immortal Tower and earn a high salary to support her cultivation. Naturally, although she was his girlfriend, she also understood that the other party only wanted her to please him because he was in a good mood. Although she had fantasized about joining the Dragon Pool Manor before, she also understood that it was nothing more than a fantasy. If she wanted to marry into the Dragon Pool Manor, she would definitely have an illustrious background. At most, she would only have a chance to become a concubine. But even so, she was still the girlfriend of a genius world overlord from the Dragon Pool Manor in name. Even the manager of the Heaven Immortal Tower, Old Hua, had to give her some face. Hence, when she spoke to Qin Wentian earlier, he didn't make her apologize. However, she was actually slapped by Qin Wentian in front of everyone. How humiliating was this? Hence, she cursed Mo Qingqing for being a slut, saying that she couldn't be compared to her. Mo Qingqing was just an ordinary world overlord's woman. How could she be compared to the girlfriend of the young genius world overlord of the Dragon Pool clan? When these words entered Qin Wentian's ears, how would he feel? In an instant, a powerful pressure enveloped the entire Heaven Immortal Tower. Qin Wentian coldly stared at Jin Ji. At this moment, killing intent flashed in his eyes. A world overlord expert. When his killing intent gushed forth, no matter how arrogant Jin Ji was, she couldn't help but tremble. However, her eyes still stubbornly stared at Qin Wentian. There were even traces of blood at the corner of her lips. Old Hua could also feel Qin Wentian's killing intent. His silhouette flickered as he appeared in front of Jin Ji, blocking her path as he spoke to Qin Wentian. Sir, you've gone too far. Are you selling her life? Qin Wentian stared at Elder Hua as he coldly spoke. In an instant, the entire Heaven Immortal Tower seemed to be suffocating. Qin Wentian wanted to buy the life of this serving girl? Even Elder Hua felt a sense of pressure when he saw the look in Qin Wentian's eyes. He then spoke, "The Heaven Immortal Tower doesn't wish to make things difficult for our guests. I hope that you can show some respect." At this moment he was silently cursing Jinji in his heart. Everything was fine, why did she have to reprimand others? Now that things have come to this, although his Heaven Immortal Tower wasn't afraid of anything, it would still create trouble for him. For world overlords, even if they were outsiders and couldn't be compared to the Dragon Pool Manor, they weren't people you and Empyrean can afford to offend, right? In addition, the aura of this young world overlord seemed to be extraordinary. Respect? Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Didn't you hear his words earlier? At this moment Jinji's expression was extremely ugly to behold. She took out a messaging crystal and sent her immortal sense in. In the Heaven Immortal Tower, there's a world overlord who humiliated me because of his woman. He wants to buy my life. Got it. A faint voice rang out in her mind. After that, Elder Hua furrowed his brows. A voice rang out in his mind. Elder Hua. Handle the matters of the Heaven Immortal Tower for me? Right. Elder Hua took out his messaging crystal and replied. He was silently cursing Jinji in his heart. After keeping his messaging crystal, Elder Hua stared at Qin Wentian. Sir, you were the one who injured her first. That's why she insulted you in anger. If we really want to talk about it, you were the one who was weak first. I don't wish to discuss who is right and who is wrong in this matter. Let's drop this matter here. Sir, please leave now. This sentence was an order for Qin Wentian to leave. Also, his tone clearly grew more domineering compared to before. Earlier, Qin Wentian made a transaction worth 20,000 world stones. But now he was being ordered to leave. From this, one could see the attitude of the other party. Qin Wentian stared at Elder Hua. Earlier, after that serving girl took out her messaging crystal and spoke to someone, Elder Hua also took out his messaging crystal. How could he not understand? Clearly, the background of this woman was able to affect Elder Hua. No wonder it was so difficult for him to get an apology from a serving girl. So it turned out that she had a background. No wonder this supreme character dared to be so arrogant, not showing the slightest hint of apology when facing a world overlord like him, only wanting to give a perfunctory apology. Hence, she transmitted her voice to Qin Wentian. Sir Qin, I shouldn't have brought you here. The power behind the Heaven Immortal Tower is the Dragon Pool Manor. This manager, Elder Hua, is someone from the Dragon Pool Manor. Earlier, he clearly received an order from the Dragon Pool Manor. This young woman should have a background from the Dragon Pool Manor. Since Sir Qin came from afar, it would be tough for you to suppress the Dragon Pool Manor. Why don't you temporarily retreat and we can head to other places to let Miss Qingcheng relax? This was a very tactful way of persuading Qin Wentian to give up. She believed that Qin Wentian would understand her words. World overlords wouldn't be fools. But would Qin Wentian really leave? He brought Qingcheng by his side and accompanied them to tour Time City. Initially, his mood was extremely good. But now that he encountered such a thing, how would he feel? Together, they accompanied each other until today. Hundreds of years have passed and the world has changed. Both the particle world and Azure Mystic have changed greatly and were no longer the same as before. However, he and Mo Qingcheng were still together, accompanying each other until today. How difficult was this? The heavens and earth have changed, but the two of them have never changed. For hundreds of years, he had never once lost his temper to the woman he loved. But today he was first berated and looked down on. After that, he was insulted as a slut. How would Qin Wentian feel now? What was the purpose of his cultivation? Even at his current status, his beloved wife was still insulted in such a manner by others. Was he supposed to leave with his tail between his legs? Even if he wanted to get revenge in the future, what meaning was there to it? This scar would forever remain in Qingcheng's heart. For his own matters he could be indifferent. But when it implicated his two most beloved wives, there was no room for discussion. Are you chasing me away? Qin Wentian stared at old Hua as he spoke. You caused trouble in the Heaven Immortal Tower and injured someone. By right, you should be expelled directly. However, I took a step back because you are a guest. Sir, please don't make things ugly for both sides. Let me repeat one last time. The Heaven Immortal Tower doesn't wish to make things difficult for our guests. But if you insist. Old Hua's eyes turned cold. Jinji had already informed that young master. That young master directly gave him an order. He only wanted Qin Wentian to leave the Heaven Immortal Tower. This should be a threat. Qin Wentian stared at Old Hua. I'll only say one thing. I originally came to the Heaven Immortal Tower because I wanted to purchase some treasures, yet I encountered such an incident. I have no intention to cause trouble in the Heaven Immortal Tower, but I want to bring away the person who insulted my wife. Sir, are you determined to cause trouble? Old Hua's aura erupted forth. The three world overlords were all present, their auras enveloping the Heaven Immortal Tower. However, the spectators in the surroundings didn't mind this matter blowing out of proportion. All of them were filled with interest. Among them, there were also many world overlords. To think that there would be someone so daring today causing trouble in the Heaven Immortal Tower. Ordinary people wouldn't have such courage. Or could it be that he didn't know the background of the Heaven Immortal Tower? Even if he didn't know, as a world overlord, he should be able to deduce a little. How could an ordinary power be able to control such a place? Qin Wentian no longer glanced at Old Hua. His gaze landed on Jinji as he spoke. I don't care who you are or what your identity is. I won't kill you. However, you have to pay a price for the words you said earlier. After speaking, he took a step forward. Old Hua and the other two world overlords released their world hearts. For a moment, three types of terrifying pressure bore down on them. And almost at the same time, Qin Wentian also released his world heart. In just an instant, the expressions of Old Hua and the other two world overlords all changed. They felt an extremely strange feeling. At this moment, they actually didn't dare to move casually. Qin Wentian stretched out his hand and grabbed towards Jinji. In an instant, Jinji's body was directly locked in place. After that, she appeared before Qin Wentian. Her expression drastically changed as she stared at Qin Wentian. You dare to touch me? Qin Wentian merely coldly glanced at her. After that, he turned and spoke to Mo Qingqing and the others. Let's leave. After speaking, he directly turned and departed. Jinji floated in the air. Her body seemed to be locked in place by a terrifying formless energy. She followed after Qin Wentian and moved forward. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this scene. What ability was this? What were Old Hua and the other two world overlords doing? They actually didn't stop him? Yizi also had an anxious look on her face. Qin Wentian actually really acted. She had no way to stop Qin Wentian. Earlier, she had already said what she wanted to say, but Qin Wentian was still as domineering as ever, acting to bring Jinji away in front of the three world overlords. But what made her shocked was that the three world overlords actually didn't stop him. Even that powerful Old Hua didn't move. Jun Mengchen and the others turned their heads and glanced at each other with a cold expression. After that, their group of people actually left the Heaven Immortal Tower just like that, causing the spectators in the surroundings to be dumbfounded. Chapter 1761. After Qin Wentian and his group left the Heaven Immortal Tower, their good mood was completely ruined. They naturally didn't have the mood to continue strolling around and directly returned to the inn. Jinji had a cultivation base at the Empyrean realm. Yet she was trapped behind Qin Wentian, unable to move at all. That terrifying pressure made her feel as though her heart was about to crumble. Qin Wentian could kill her with just a thought. Right now she was both angry and terrified. She was angry because Qin Wentian actually dared to act against her, and even used such a method to forcefully bring her away. Such a domineering attitude actually caused Old Hua and the other two world overlords to not dare to protect her. She naturally understood what this meant. Old Hua and the other two world overlords knew that they wouldn't be able to keep Qin Wentian here. One could even say that the disparity between their strength was extremely great. If not, Old Hua would definitely do his best. Hence she also felt some fear. She was truly worried that Qin Wentian would do something to her. On the way here, many people glanced over, staring at her who was trapped. There were also many people who came out from the Heaven Immortal Tower to watch the show. She felt like she was being dragged through the streets, feeling incomparably humiliated. I'm the girlfriend of the Dragon Pool World Overlord. Do you know what you are doing? If you still don't release me, both you and your woman will have to pay an unimaginable price. Jinji spoke with difficulty. She had no way to endure the strange gazes from the surroundings. No matter whose woman you are, you have to pay a price for insulting my wife, Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Yi Zi, who was at the side, felt her heart trembling when she heard this. She also didn't expect Qin Wentian to be so domineering, directly bringing her away from the Heaven Immortal Tower, not giving her any face at all. In addition, he ignored the three world overlords. The three world overlords didn't dare to obstruct him. What level of power is the Dragonpool Manor? Only now did Qin Wentian ask Yi Zi, who was at the side. For Qingcheng, he didn't mind stirring up trouble. But no matter what, he had to know roughly what level of power he was provoking. He wouldn't lose his rationality just because of anger. The most important reason for doing this was naturally because of Qingcheng. There were some things he couldn't endure. It was his reverse scale. There was another secondary reason. It was naturally because of his confidence in his own strength. Ye's face was filled with black lines. He was completely speechless towards Qin Wentian. He mused in his heart, I've already warned you, you don't even know what sort of power the Dragonpool Manor is. You actually dare to create trouble for yourself? Naturally, it was impossible for her to say this out loud. She replied, the Dragonpool Manor is a peak power in Time City. The experts in the manor are as common as the clouds, and there are many world overlords among them. The Dragonpool Manor Lord is the clan leader of the Dragonpool Manor, and has already broken through to the world overlord realm countless years ago. Right now, he is already at the peak of this realm. As for how strong he is exactly, I have no way to know. After all, I've never seen such a character before, and have only heard rumors about him. World overlords weren't differentiated by their cultivation realms. Hence it was very hard to say for sure. In any case, the Dragonpool Manor was very strong, or the Dragonpool Manor wouldn't have become a peak power. Qin Wentian calmly nodded his head. Did you hear that? If you release me now, maybe your punishment might be lighter. If not, the consequences would be unimaginable. Jinji coldly spoke from behind. Qin Wentian didn't even glance at her. He only coldly replied, you really don't have any self-awareness at all. As the girlfriend of the Dragonpool Manor's world overlord, you are actually a serving girl in the Heaven Immortal Tower. There's no need to think about it, and I already know what your status is exactly. Could it be that you think that after such a thing happened and you lost all your face, the Dragonpool Manor's world overlord would still acknowledge your existence? When Jinji heard Qin Wentian's words, she instantly felt her entire body turning cold, from head to toe. She wasn't a foolish person, on the contrary, she was extremely intelligent. Back then, when Qin Wentian asked her to use her hands to retrieve the treasure, she already knew that she had been fooled. Now, after hearing Qin Wentian's words, how could she still not understand the situation she was in? Just like what Qin Wentian said, Jinji was a serving girl in the Heaven Immortal Tower. From this, one could tell that this girlfriend of his didn't have a high status and wouldn't have any chance to enter the Dragonpool Manor. But now such a thing happened, she was brought away in front of everyone. How shameful was this? She, who originally didn't have a high status, did she still want to continue being the girlfriend of the Dragonpool Manor's world overlord? Even if it was the Dragonpool Manor, they wouldn't be able to lose face like this, right? It was inevitable that they would break up. In fact, they might even refuse to acknowledge the existence of this girlfriend and treat her as an ordinary serving girl. Even so, your actions would still offend him to the extreme. Jinji's expression turned malevolent. Even if she wasn't acknowledged, would Qin Wentian have a good ending? How ridiculous! Qin Wentian mocked. Could it be that you think you alone can make the entire Dragonpool Manor stand up for you? As for that world overlord of the Dragonpool Manor who dotes on you, although I've never met him before and I don't know who he is, even if he wants a woman like you, I'm sure the power he can mobilize wouldn't be that strong. This sentence was an insult to Jinji, but it was also a display of his immense self-confidence. The fear in Jinji's heart grew even more intense. She suddenly felt some regret. Maybe because of this matter, all the sacrifices she made in the past would all be for naught. Also, there were many women around Qin Wentian. Leaving aside their strength in terms of beauty, none of them were inferior to her. No wonder he dared to say that even a woman like her would want a man like him. This was an extreme form of contempt for her. Although she felt this way in her heart, she didn't want to admit it. She still had hope in her heart as her gaze grew increasingly vicious. Yizi's gaze towards Qin Wentian gradually changed. She discovered that she might have underestimated this outsider world overlord. His domineeringness didn't only originate from his impulsiveness, it also originated from his self-confidence. The news of what happened in the Heaven Immortal Tower soon circulated. In Time City, everyone had messaging crystals. Although this place was vast, the speed of the news spreading was still terrifying. In fact, very soon, even the inn Qin Wentian stayed in was dug out. It was the extremely famous 10 Miles Inn, an extremely famous inn with high prices. Those who could stay here were usually people from world overlord level powers. Hence, the number of people in the vicinity of the 10 Miles Inn increased. Many people wanted to see how the Dragon Pool Manor would handle this matter. At this moment, there were still many guests in the Heaven Immortal Tower. Among them, there was a group of people who exuded an extremely outstanding aura. The person in the lead was a young man and woman. The young man looked very young, but his cultivation base was unfathomably deep. He was a world overlord, while the young woman was an Empyrean character. As for the followers behind them, there were several world overlords as well. From this, one could very well imagine their background. I've already investigated clearly. They are staying in the 10 Miles Inn. The young man spoke to the young woman beside him. He was as handsome as a jade tree and had extraordinary looks. The young woman was even more stunning. Her beauty was noble and noble. Her beautiful eyes gleamed with light, as resplendent as the stars. She radiated an extraordinary aura. Little princess, why are you interested in a world overlord? The young man smiled as he asked. They came to Time City and roamed around. They heard that the Heaven Immortal Tower was extremely famous, and the little princess naturally felt some interest in it. Don't you feel that it's very interesting? Chapter 1762. At this moment, Qin Wentian was in a pavilion enjoying the delicacies and wine, occasionally chatting as though nothing had happened. Jinji stood at the side and waited on him. Qin Wentian didn't do anything to her, and only allowed her to pour tea and serve him. Before this, she didn't obey, and Qin Wentian told her that if she didn't obey or if she wanted to escape, he would directly cripple her cultivation base. This sentence caused Jinji to be so frightened that she didn't dare to move recklessly. She could only obediently wait on him. Staring at Qin Wentian and the others who were chatting happily, her gaze was extremely cold, like she was cursing. She wanted to see how long Qin Wentian could live for. Senior brother. This woman is so irritating just by looking at her. Why don't we just cripple her and chase her away? Jun Mengchen coldly glanced at Jinji, who was at the side. This was especially so when he saw the venomous look in Jinji's eyes. His mood was greatly affected. What sort of character was his senior brother? He became the overlord of Azure Mystic and was given the title of Heaven Empyrean, a lofty existence. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, he even brought his subordinates under the tutelage of a heavenly deity. This woman was the lover of a world overlord from the Dragon Pool Manor. She actually dared to insult a Mo Qingcheng? With regards to his senior brother's wife, who in the world would dare to be disrespectful? How could a lover of a world overlord from the Dragon Pool Manor insult her? Honestly speaking, right now, the will of a heavenly deity already existed in his mind. Hence, he didn't feel too much reverence for the powerful Dragon Pool Manor. Although his cultivation base was still lower, so what of it? It was merely a matter of time. A mere Dragon Pool Manor. If they really dared to antagonize him, at most he would leave Time City and come back after a few hundred years or 10,000 years to destroy them. Jun Mengchen's words frightened Jinji. She could clearly sense Jun Mengchen's unmasked coldness. The venomous look in her eyes instantly retracted, as though she was worried that Qin Wentian would really accept Jun Mengchen's suggestion and cripple her. Her reaction was seen by Jun Mengchen. Seems like his senior brother was too kind. He coldly mocked. I wonder which world overlord is blind to want such a lowly person? She even thinks she's so arrogant and thinks she's extraordinary. Yizi was also sitting at the side. Her heart trembled when she heard that. She thought that Qin Wentian was already domineering enough, but who would have thought that this young and handsome man would be so tyrannical when he was angered? Although his cultivation base was only at the Empyrean realm, from his words, it was as though he didn't care about what happened today. It was as though he didn't offend the Dragon Pool clan at all. This was simply too crazy. Who were these people exactly? Could it be that he was a disciple of some powerful family that had come out to gain experience? How could she know that Qin Wentian and the others didn't have any background? If they did, it would be terrifying. In the minds of most of them, there was a heavenly deity. Sir, what arrogant words you have. The people in the other pavilions glanced over, smiling at Jun Mengchen and his group. Not long ago, I heard that someone caused trouble in the Heaven Immortal Tower and captured a serving girl of the Heaven Immortal Tower. Right now, the entire inn seems to be bustling with noise and excitement. Most probably, this is all because of you guys. You guys are truly audacious. It's not that we caused trouble in the Heaven Immortal Tower. It's because the serving girl of the Heaven Immortal Tower is too impudent. The Heaven Immortal Tower actually still wants to protect her. Does everyone feel that the Heaven Immortal Tower is in the right? Jun Mengchen spoke. We've also heard of what happened. However, this world isn't a place where logic is spoken. From your words, I'm sure you guys don't have much understanding of the Dragon Pool Manor, which is the controlling power of the Heaven Immortal Tower. Right? That person laughed. Sir, what do you want to say? Qin Wentian stared at the person who spoke as he asked. Nothing much, staying in the same inn can also be considered fate. I'm sure you guys also came from outside to participate in the convention of the Myriad Realms. However, I should have arrived earlier than you guys and have already arrived here many years ago. I have some understanding of the major powers in Time City. Since you guys have offended the Heaven Immortal Tower, I'm afraid your ending wouldn't be very good. I can point out a path for you guys. If the owner of the 10 Miles Inn is willing to protect you guys, there might be some hope. That person laughed. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed. Seems like the owner of the 10 Miles Inn wasn't a simple character. Naturally. Did you see that there are many world overlords gathered in the inn? From what I know, there's also a major character there. A transcendent level world overlord who is respected by everyone. You can go and pay a visit to him. If you are lucky, you might be able to meet with him, and the Dragon Pool Manor might not pursue this matter any further. That person laughed. Many thanks for Sir's kind intentions. However, there's no need for you to worry about such matters. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Haha, okay, just take it that I spoke too much. That person laughed. He really wanted to see how Qin Wentian would deal with the Dragon Pool Manor. Senior brother, there are indeed many people in the surroundings. Seems like they're all here to watch a show. The speed of news really is fast. We came back the moment we came out, but the news already circulated around the inn so quickly. Jun Mengchen spoke. This place is Time City, it's normal. Qin Wentian spoke. In the central region of the Mystic region, he wouldn't be surprised by anything that happened. Not long after, a group of experts arrived at the inn. After that, they came to the pavilion. This group of people exuded an outstanding aura, and the person in the lead was a young man and woman. They were none other than the group of people from the Heaven Immortal Tower earlier. They directly walked towards Qin Wentian. People from the Dragon Pool Manor? Doesn't seem like it. Someone mumbled. If they aren't people from the Dragon Pool Manor, they would definitely be disciples from a major power with so many world overlords following them. Someone felt even more interested in this matter. The young man and woman in the lead were all extremely outstanding. Naturally, the auras of Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing, Princess Kitamura, and the others weren't in any way inferior to them. It was just that with so many world overlords following behind them, their statuses were clearly extraordinary. Qin Wentian felt some bewilderment when he saw the young man and woman in the lead walking over. Earlier in the Heaven Immortal Tower, this group of people was here, but he didn't pay attention to them. Now that he was surveying this group of people, he could tell that they were all extraordinary. The young woman in the lead had an extraordinary cultivation base, but regardless of beauty or demeanor, they were all outstanding, not something Jinji could compare to. In addition, her aura was also very strong. As for the handsome young man beside her, he had a smile on his face as he followed behind her. This young woman was also surveying Qin Wentian and his group. All of a sudden, a smile appeared on her face. She who was originally already extremely beautiful could mesmerize the masses at this moment. Even for beauties like Mo Qingqing and Qing they all had looks of admiration on their faces. This was purely because they admired her beauty. Sir, you seem to have gotten yourself into trouble. Not long ago, the Heaven Immortal Tower sent out a piece of news saying that if there's someone who can bring you all to the Heaven Immortal Tower, they can choose any treasure other than the ultimate treasure. The young woman smiled. This was the latest news, and after everyone heard it, their eyes flashed. As expected of the Heaven Immortal Tower, how extravagant! Even other than the ultimate treasure, there were countless dazzling treasures in the Heaven Immortal Tower. Some of them were priceless. Even transcendent-level world overlords would be moved by them. Just when everyone thought that the Dragon Pool Manor was going to act, they actually made such a move. They didn't even need to act themselves but use treasures to smash you to death. This was the power of wealth. If the Dragon Pool Manor acted, it would be beneath their status. Since they lost face, they had to forcefully regain it. The young man at the side laughed, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble violently. Her surname was Donghuang, Little Princess. Her identity was already very clear. No wonder she exuded such magnificence through the generations. She actually had such a lofty status. The people in the surroundings all stood up, including world overlords. Someone spoke. "It's my honor to be able to meet the little princess here. The little princess is so charming, yet she is still so polite." Another person spoke. At this moment, Jinji's heart was also trembling. When she stared at the beautiful young woman, her eyes flashed with unmasked envy. This was a true heaven chosen. Compared to her, she was so insignificant. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.